Hey, what's up, Skywalker? I'm here with Imagination Creation Films, and today it is December 31st, 2021, and this is the New Year's edition of Your Drive Home. That's right, if you're stuck in traffic and you're enjoying that bumper-to-bumper traffic on this New Year's Eve, well, you're joining me for Your Drive Home with Scotty. And yeah, we've got the puppy cam, the dog cam is going down there. You can see his head is poised. Well, that's really rude. Just to make that really loud. You can see his head is poised right there to bump that tripod. So every time he bumps the tripod, you got to take a drink. That's what I think. I don't know. Hello, Happy New Year. How is everyone out there? People are starting to slowly come in. That's the way it works. I'm sure my internet is really bad today. I'm actually uploading a video in the background, so, I mean, timing is everything. But we can talk about anything and everything, all the things that you want to talk about, filmmaking, music, films, stuff, things, all of that. And I'm going to try not to get demonetized this time, because the last 3 videos I got demonetized on. Apparently, I said something like, I guess, adult drink or something like that, and that was enough to I don't understand. I got the monetization back after a week. A week. Gain overload, really? Okay. Let me turn that down. Let's see. Am I just talking too loud? Well, I like to talk loud. Oh, test. Well, that's still okay. Let's just do this. Test. How's that? That's a lot better. But, you know, I'm loud. I'm happy. That's why everything is so loud. I'm assuming. I don't know. The audio should be better now. I was, the monetization. So, yeah, it took a week for YouTube to go, yeah, there was really nothing wrong with that video. And they gave me my monetization back. But guess what? Once they do that, all the views, because the live streams, it's rare that people go back and watch the whole live stream. So, you know, all the ads that popped up during the live stream, which I guess don't really happen that often, then they're gone. They're bye-bye. And everyone knows just exactly how little I make in this. And, you know, I'm not doing it for the money. Well, I kind of do it for the money, especially when times are tight, but you get it. It's a thing. I feel like we've tried to pronounce this one before. I didn't get it right. Let's see here. So what's everybody doing? What's everybody planning to do for the new year? Everyone's so silent. Make some keyboard noise. Type in "we're here," or for those of you who are driving, I know there's like a couple of you who are driving going, no, I can't type while I'm driving. Ollie, hey man, I missed you in the last month. You have not been on the live streams for the past month, and it's been sad. And we miss you. But Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone. Hopefully this stream is working well. I am, once again, going out to Twitch for the 0 people who are monitoring it on Twitch. Yeah, that was, although I had 9 people join it on Twitch, but I think the average view time was 3 seconds. So they probably joined, they look and they're like, who's this old poop? And that was that. Let's see here. In my place talks, how will you meet New Year? So this is how you'll spend it. How will you make it? Gotcha. Gaffer and Grip, I'm rendering. Well, I understand. I'm uploading. And Your History by... I ain't falling for that. Gaffer and Grip, I'm probably still editing through. Well, that's not fun. That's not fun. You gotta have a little bit of me time. I've got some me time. I have delicious carbonated lemonade because that's how I roll on New Year's Eve-ish. Ollie says, missed you, brother. Yeah, I've been crazy busy between shooting a doc and having a gallbladder. Well, okay. How the gallbladder surgery go? You okay? Everything good? Everything. But I'm back, baby. I'm back. That's good. I hope you're well. Uh, that was weird. It sounded like a Harley. Sounded like a Harley drove overhead. Maybe Santa's got him some new wheels, and he's like, you know what? We're not doing reindeer this year. Of course, last year we're doing Harley Davidsons. Is it flashing on your end? Let me know if it's flashing because it flashed here. I want to make sure it's not the doggo cam. I mean, he literally 54 seconds before the stream started. That's when he got in that position, that position right there, and pushed the whole tripod out of the way. And he didn't care. Cynthia ran over real quick and panned it over, and then he instantly put his head right back on the tripod. Reach, hey man, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Reach. Hope you're having a fantastic and wonderful day. Yeah, it was a fun morning this morning for me. I woke up and I heard water running in the kitchen, and I was like, oh God, what's going on? Who's here? And my wife came in. I completely forgot that she was off today. I mean, we could have stayed up last night. She went to bed early. How much fun was that? Yeah, Ollie, you completely missed the A-list celebs. It was quite awesome. And then I've been catching them, Ollie, as it goes. But if you see any post down there that's like just really short and it says something dot something, just ban the user. I try to grab them as fast as I can, but they're bots that are testing the waters, and I don't want testing. Also we're on Streamlab or StreamYard now, but we have that. Oh, I can do it from here. So if I just put my hand, it just pops up from the top. So we have the logo here. I'm paying less, so I'm happier about that. I have to have the logo, but everything else works, so I'm okay with that. So I shot a video last 3 hours. Just meet New Year. Now montage, watching you, then upload video on channel to gain the hard part. Yeah, I'm uploading. For those of you who are Komodo users, did y'all see the new Tilta Advanced Power Module? Complete with, well, that's right, breakout box. Oh yeah, it launched exclusively on the Red Komodo users Facebook group. So that video is actually uploading in the background. So if I drop out a bunch, it's probably that one. I'm trying to get that one out quick because that was kind of it's time to go. It is red approved. Yes, the Tilta module is red approved. It's kind of awesome. And it has swappable plates. So kind of nice. And if you have any questions about that, put them down or put them in the questions and I'll try to answer them. Yeah, let's see here. Are you using the Blackmagic ATEM Mini Extreme or Extreme ISO? I am using the Extreme. I did not, a couple of reasons. The ISO, I don't like the way that the ATEM colors the video. So what I think is happening, and it's weird that no one agrees with this or catches on, I think they're using the compressed color or values for luminance. So instead of 0 to 255, I think they're doing the 14 to 220. And so when you plug something in, it gets really contrasty. Like right now, it's much more contrasty than it actually is in camera. And I don't like that, and I can't undo it no matter what I do. And there's a big forum group about it. So I had before the extreme. I had the smaller one, the four extreme, the four channel extreme. And so when I was upgrading, I went back and forth on the ISO or not, and ultimately decided not to get the ISO because I don't like the I don't like the way it does it. So I would just rather just switch on the fly, and it works. It works for me. I dig it. Got the doggo cam, which is the overhead cam. And then we have, well, nothing really else plugged in. Um, let's see here. Awesome Kessler jib hack, man. Hope they implement it. Yeah. Sorry, man. Um, he is open to implementing, and I have the way I've done it. I have a design that is really simple, and they can implement it very easily, and it's really cool. Um, and then I've shared my design with them, and right now they're just kind of like, we'll see. But if you all make a bunch of noise, then it might happen. But what I don't want to happen, and this is the problem, and Eric is my friend, and I definitely don't want to put him in a bad situation. But people make a lot of noise sometimes, but they don't actually mean it. Not that they're not excited about the product, but that they're not actually going to purchase one. And in a business, they need to know that they have 40 people or 100 people or 500 people that want to buy that product, literally want to buy it, not just, hey, it's cool, good job. So it's tough. So Eric and I talked about it, and if enough of you that are Kessler owners out there or want to be Kessler owners, and you should if you aren't, exclusive Kessler discount. Let me get to that one in just a second. But enough of you make noise and say that it is something that you would actually buy, he might make it happen. It is very doable. He's always happy to make a product that people want. What he doesn't want to do is spend time and money, develop a product, and then no one buys it. I mean, it happens in the industry. So it's I mean, just think of it as a soft crowdsourcing. That's kind of weird. But okay, real quick. This is extremely limited and exclusive. It's not a whole lot. But if you're interested in anything Kessler, use my affiliate link down below. And then there's a coupon code. And this is only for the month of January and today. Only for the month of January. I haven't even announced it yet. Like, I think I teased it once. Coupon code Scott Balcom, all one word. 5% off. I mean, it's 5%. It matters. Every little bit helps. I mean, I had to work on this for about a year. So we finally got a coupon code. We get it for 1 month, and that's it. But yeah, if you are interested, yeah, go do that. Let's see here. Oh no, this kind of gear is far from me yet. Okay, but I'm on my way. Fight more. Hey, Fight. What's up, man? Just got here. Tell everyone to hit that like button. There you go. Everyone hit the like button. Everyone hit the like button. We got 3 likes. 3. Don't make Scott cry. Scott doesn't want to cry. Peter. Hey, Peter. How's it going? Watching without sound because wife's sleeping next to me. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Hopefully there's is closed captioning working down below? I checked the box. I hope it's working. Let me know if it's working or no, or all that. Otherwise, hey, Peter. There you go. Hey, Peter, you got the, well, that's not it. The new Tilta Advanced Power Module. Yeah, right here. It is, it's very good. It's very good. Ollie says, if he can make a prototype for you, that would be awesome to get some footage out of what it's capable. Yeah, I think the way it would work is if enough people make enough noise based upon the video that I did, and if I have to do another video, I'll do another video showing that mod. If enough people make noise, then he'll make the prototype, and then we can show it and make it happen. I don't get anything out of it. Don't get me wrong. Actually, I just get a plate. I get the module. Hey, Justin, how are you? Have a great New Year. Thank you, Justin. Luca, hey, Luca, how are you? Happy New Year, everyone. I hope everyone is having a wonderful eve. Justin, I need to come tour. You need to let me know when is a good day that I could come. I would love to come and like vlog and show off your studio. I think that'd be a cool video, just to let people see, because you're in a lot of spaces right now. Virtual production, number one. So I'd love to come. I know you said come and visit, but I'd love to shoot. So we need to coordinate that. I'd love to shoot a tour of the studio. So we need to coordinate that when obviously we can shoot when there's no one, doing that. I'd love to have you there. We're about to install another 30 feet to our current volume. Wow, dude, you rock. Ollie says, very reasonable price on the Tilta. Yes, it is. It works really, really well. And if you are in the Red Komodo users group, I can't tell you what it is, but there's a discount in the Red Komodo users. Also, it comes in 3 colors. You've got black, gray, gray, and Stormtrooper white. But the Stormtrooper white is only available through the Red Komodo users. It will not be sold in any store. I mean, I guess someone could buy one and put it in the store, but it won't. It will not be made available distribution to anybody other than the Red Komodo users. It's a small batch just for Red Komodo users. So run over to Red Komodo users and put your order in quick. I don't know how long that sale is. It's not going to be very long. And trust me, the Red Komodo users will be getting the first units out there before any of the dealers. So, yep. I didn't know if anybody would actually be on today. I didn't get to do one last. I mean, it's weird when your Fridays, which are my live stream days, happen to coincide with, I don't know, Christmas, and then New Year's Eve is like, really, who's going to be on? So I didn't do one last week, but I said I wasn't going to. Today it's New Year's Eve. It's kind of a weird. I kind of feel like Kilroy. Hi ho, neighbor. Heidi ho, neighbor. That's the Tim Allen. So, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe things get moving and shaking. Maybe I'm like, you know what? It's New Year's Eve. I can use an adult beverage. I can't say that because I'll get demonetized. Or maybe I can enjoy a leaf product, legal leaf. Yeah. Okay. So Ali says, how solid are these swappable plates? No play. Literally no play. Let me turn off. Get you right here. So I am twisting. There is no play. These things, they have 4 screws that go in, and they are very, very solid. It's really good. It's better than the old power module, and it has the full breakout. Video will be up in 1 hour and 9 minutes, or depending on how much my bandwidth of my stream is taking. But yeah, really, really, really solid. There are a few caveats. There's a few caveats with it. For instance, the SDI, using the horizontal plate, the SDI clears. There's plenty of room to come out if you're using the nano batteries. If you're using the micros, or if you're using the minis, there's enough room for it to have a nice quick bend. The vertical plate, though, because it goes closer, you need to use angle mount 12G SDI connection to go off to the side for this one. All of them support all the different size batteries. Well, I can show here. So there's the Blue Shape Granite Mini, and you can see underneath, there's enough room. I mean, there's the SDI port. There's enough room for it to come out. It's no problem at all with it. The gold mount works. It's lovely. It's slick, and no error message. No unapproved battery message. It rocks. Kevin says, oh, I'm not posting these. Man, I keep forgetting I'm on StreamYard. Kevin says, can you give us a brief overview of the difference between the old and the new tilted plates? Absolutely, I can. Be happy to. First off, and there is a video coming out, so I know so many people are like, I'm not watching your live stream again. Forget it. I'm not spending 3 hours. There's a 6-minute video, full overview, showing all the plates, everything on there. That'll be up in a couple hours. But here's this is the old one, and this is the new one. So the difference is, you can see it's a little bit thicker because it has to account for the plate itself. On the top, you get the dual 2-pin LEMOs and the D-tap, just like the other one. On this side, sorry, let me, hold on, let me bump. How do I do that? Where do I thought I could put hold on. I need to settings, shift videos up for cover. There we go. Now, did that work? It did not work. I said shift videos up. It's not working. They're like, no, you ain't doing that. Let's try to get it out of the way. Fine. I'll just hold it up. I'll work those muscles. So you can see on the side here, you do lose the D-tap, but you gain a run stop. You gain the focus. Hello. You gain the gen lock down here. You get the control, and you get the time code all on that side. And then on this side, you get the USB, same as over here. And then the bottom is just the bottom. And then the plates are relatively easy. There's just 4 screws. This is the gold mount right here. This is the vertical V-mount right here. The vertical does drop down below. So let me check that off. So on here, this mounts like this. So it does stick down ever so slightly on the back. Sorry if my hand's in the way. And when you put this on, you will need to use the L SDI, 12G SDI. But yeah, it's pretty easy. Lucas says, Canon EOS R3 sensor review, best low light perform. It's tested by DxO Mark sensor team. Any thought? Anyone? Looks interesting. I'd like to see that. I did not read that article yet, so I don't know. But best low light performance. I mean, I would like to see the qualifications for that. For instance, Canon made a sensor 7-8 years ago that went down 4 million ISO. Now it wasn't usable past 1 million, but I mean, it was 4 million. It was insane. It was only 1080p. It only did like 24 frames a second or 30 or something like that. I remember them using it on that weird Fox TV show where everybody lived in a commune. It was quite strange. So I mean, the Sony's good, but the Sony's not. I'm not using the Sony at 200,000 ISO, the A7S III. No way. So again, I'd like to see what they're talking about on that. Yeah, but I've not seen it, but I wouldn't mind seeing it. Um, was that wind or what? Let's put the doggo cam back. People like the dog more than me. Plus, I want people to know why the tripod moves. um, any other questions on the V mount? It's getting hot in here. Man, I can't turn on the air conditioner. I did buy a replacement air conditioner. It's over there. It's a split unit. It's nice and quiet. We'll be able to run it continuously. I just haven't installed it yet because time keeps on ticking, ticking, ticking. Komodo XL, what's to expect for more I/O ports, maybe 2-pin LEMO and SDI on the front side as VRaptor XL. So what I would say for Komodo XL is think of next generation Komodo, but don't try to expand on Komodo's purpose. Komodo is a crash cam. It is not a standalone cam. It works really well as a standalone cam, but that's not what it was designed for. So yeah, keep that in mind. What else? I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I don't have any information other than what was on the live stream that Jared flashed by right before Brad Pitt showed up. Bill said, hey, Bill, happy New Year, buddy. Are you talking about low light performance or high ISO performance? Well, I mean, technically speaking, you're right. They are two separate things. ISO on a digital sensor is complete and total made up. It is just mapped based upon what people are comfortable with. So, no, I'm not really talking about high ISO. I'm more talking about low light performance because that really kind of matters. Wow, got a tickle in there. I know I don't have anything. I don't go anywhere except for when jobs happen. Lucas says, yeah, have a look at the article. I will do that. I just won't do it right now because I don't have an HDMI port connected to my my iPad. It's warm in here though. The dog doesn't care. He's like, I'm sleeping. I'm good. Thank you. How high do the core SWX sit above the vertical V-mount plate? Well, let's just put it on. I mean, there's more than one way to do it. I'll just be screwing around here. I literally did all this on my video, but I don't mind. Gives me something to do. And it's just 4 screws. They do include the Allen wrench, but red keys are better. Line it up. That's snug. So there's an interesting questions in there. Ooh, boy, Justin, yeah. I would love to get my hands on one of those. I'll get to your question here in just a moment. Just want to finish this one. How high do the core SWX sit? There you go. So you can see it does hang down below Komodo, but if you have a cage, any kind of a cage, it sits flat. Like with a tilted cage, it sits flush with it. So it does hang down, but you can kind of see the gap that you have there. So you do have to use the 12G. I don't have one here. I had one. It's over there. 12G angle or a 12G angled cable. Let's see. Goffa, yeah. Let's see. Hi, is ISOs compares from a cam to another? Is ISOs compares from a? I mean, ISO is ISO on digital sensors is a value that is assigned. It is not a value that is measured. There is no way to measure ISO on digital because it is not a measurement of digital. So what they do is they say, this is the, they measure light and they say, compare it to film. Film says this is ASA 100. Then they take the same look, the same feel, and they map it to ISO 100 on digital. That's how they do it. And I mean, it varies. If you look at some of the older, like Dragon at 800 ISO equals Komodo at 400 ISO. It's just the way it is. The perceived brightness that they did, because it's just not mapped the same way. It's different. Richard says, watching from the UK, always interesting. Hey, Happy New Year over there. You're getting close to New Year's, right? You're just like 2 hours away, right? Just as like anyone shoot on Fujifilm, GFX 50 or GFX 100. I know several people who have, and they absolutely think it's an amazing camera. I'd love to shoot with it, but I certainly can't afford it. I'll know that is it the 50s now cheaper? It seems like it is. This is the article, friends. Yeah, links don't work, Luca. But you can message it to me and I will post it. Ollie says, "Oh man, that's awesome! Almost flush. It's pretty close. It is. I mean, I could see where some people would get annoyed by having to use the L, but I mean, they made it for. I mean, for compactness. To me, the only negative that I see is, we'll see if y'all notice. What's the difference between these two horizontal V-mount plates? Okay. Y'all notice the difference? Yeah, I do too. One of them has a top eject, the other one has a bottom eject. I don't know why, but when they did this one, it's bottom eject. I don't know why. It's weird too, because if you look at them, they're both the same design this way, but this one mounts this way, and they are not, you cannot swap them around. I tried. I wanted it so badly. I was like, I wonder if those four could be, they cannot. So yeah. Let's see here. 2022. Why don't we all make a wish list pool to submit to Red? Maybe they'll create a custom camera. Bad idea. They will build anybody a custom camera. Hey, you saw that. You saw the camera bump. That was this one. If you pay enough money, they'll build you whatever you want. But I mean, everyone make some noise to Red. Let them know what you're looking for. Yeah, Dragon is super dark. It's close to a stop darker, and it's what? She's checking out my stream. Yeah, it's like a stop down, and it was originally, it was I think it was like 2 stops originally. I'm trying to remember. I remember Dragon got re-rated when IPP2 came out, I think. So I don't know. I don't recall. But yeah, Dragon is a low light. No, a high needs the light, all the lights. Did he just like I can't tell if he moved my stream. And oh yeah, this guy is he's sleeping. He looks like he looks he's in the other video. I noticed him when I was editing. I was like, "Oh yeah, he's passed out." He he's doing a little too much New Year's Eve celebrations, I'm guessing. Uh let's see here. Ollie, you're like what, 2 hours away from New Year's as well? Um I figured there'd be a lot more questions, but I mean I'm good, whatever. Um I'm gonna take this back off. Um Is the V mount the same as in Betacam days? Well, so no, not exactly. The standard is the same, but they're built much better, and everyone, for the most part, follows the standard. So the old claim is, well, V mounts will just pop out right on set. The truth is that V mounts don't pop out on set unless one of 3 things happens. 1, manufacturer did not build to spec. 2, battery manufacturer did not build to spec. That's really annoying. 3, user did not install battery correctly. Those are the only ways that they fail. I've had V-mounts for many years. I worked in television news all the way back to 99. And yeah, we had some V-mounts. We mostly used Anton Bauer in the news because ABC is, well, ABC. But V-mounts didn't pop off back then either because, well, Sony made really good V-mounts. So yeah, it is the same spec. Let's see here. Ali says, yeah, 1 hour and 54 minutes. Hey, I'm learning my time zones. I always thought it was hilarious. I would post, what time the live stream would be, and I would post it as CST. And several people are like, what the heck is CST? I'm like, y'all don't know what time zone CST? I guess people don't know the time zones. Oh, look at you, Ollie. You got it. Yeah. Those are the ones. Those are the ones that try to sneak in, and they probe. They'll do that 2 or 3 times, and then they'll send in the spammer. Art says GFX 100 is a beast. There you go. Have shot fashion with it mainly and used it once or twice for motion. Doesn't have the X sensor, but is still strong. When we have time, hoping to compare it to the Phase 1. Ooh, nice. Art, you look amazingly like the guy from the Linus Tech Tips Mac channel. What is it? Mac user, whatever. You look. I was like, wait, what? What? Happy New Year, Art. Let's see here. Someone sent me email. I love YouTube. Jeez. Oh, Twitch didn't even bother to let me know that I'm live on Twitch. That's sad. It says I'm live on Twitch. Hey, yo. Happy New Year's, Eric Kessler. Happy New Year. Everyone say Happy New Year to Eric down there. Eric, we were just talking about you like 20 minutes ago. We were talking about the Frankenrig 2.0 modification, and I kind of explained the process by which it may come to market if enough people are truly interested in it. But yeah, I did that. I also told them about the 5% discount. I'm hoping to make a little video on that 5% discount because it literally took a year of me begging and pleading with Eric to get that. and it's a very limited time. So 5%, it matters. Oh, I don't think you get demonetized for saying another. Oh, I say. I said. What did I say? Boy, that'd be hilarious if that's what's demonetizing me is uh, the closed captioning. I said tips. Tips. Well, that literally probably. Someone tell me. Don't type it in. Just tell me. Did it come across closed captioning that way? That'd be hilarious. Um, I've recently brought the Tilted Nucleus M, and might be the best thing I bought this year. If you've used it, I'd like to know your thoughts on it. It is it is good. I wouldn't call it the best. However, for most use cases, it works fine. A first AC is going to immediately say, "You brought what?" Because first ACs, they like the Prestons, they like the really high end follow focus, and Nucleus is good. It's, I mean, I've used it. I have one. It is, what do I have? I have the Nano. I have, I have the one that goes on the Komodo kit from Tilta, and it's cool. It works really well. It's pretty nice, but it's not for everyone. Like, oh, guess he's got scratch. Watch, see how long he scratches for. This will be like a record here. Oh, really? Say something and look at it. He's not even in camera anymore. Really? Pfft, doggo cam. So yeah, it's good. I don't think it's a bad product at all. Um, it's just not a Preston. It's just not the very high end. But for, I would say, unless you're in like a film studio, like a big production studio, no one's going to know the difference, or no one's going to care the difference. Put it that way. Ollie says best in class. That's a fair statement. Oh, got to protect my chair here. I'll move the dog cam in just one moment. He always does that. He lays right behind. That's going to be hard to do. I don't know how to. Hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. I can't. He's doggoing behind me, and I can't shoot over my head. He's just doing it so I don't see him scratch. Lucas says, "Hey Eric, thank you for your work. I want a hydraulic crane." There you go, Eric. He made a really nice one. It's really nice. I think it's for sale too. Patrick says, general questions. What kind of camera doesn't make both shutter banding too bad, LED and jello effects? So those are two different issues. Well, the effect, what you really need, Patrick, is you need to know the frequency of the light bulb, the LEDs. And cheap LEDs have really slow circuitry. I'll give you an example. This guy right here, Pac-Man. Well, that's the Pac-Man Ghost. He flickers unless you're at 60. 60 hertz, 1/60th of a second for shutter speed. Because they use what's called a half-wave LED circuitry, which means the LED voltage goes up and down. For a full cycle, it goes up and then down. Half-wave only does the ups. And LEDs, because they don't have like a tungsten bulb, the tungsten filament will, as it gets the 60 cycles a second, it brightens and then dims, brightens and dims. However, the time it takes for it to dim is not enough to cause a flicker, because if you ever turn off a tungsten light, you can see it kind of go, it slowly dims, where an LED is like, it's off. So what happens is you've got cheap LEDs that are using half wave, sometimes even worse. I've heard of 42 hertz for some LEDs. These LEDs are really nice. These are really nice LEDs. The aperture B7Cs that are in here are really nice. They have a really high frequency, so they don't do that. The Philips Hue light bulbs, those are bad. Those flicker, and those flicker around 50 hertz. I guess international standard maybe. So to sum that up, to answer that question for you, what you need is to find the frequency. And sometimes cameras don't have that ability. So if it's at like 42 hertz, like for instance, I don't know if you can see it, but right there, right behind the lamp, is one of the old Nixie tubes from Russia, and it's a clock. And that thing cycles at like 24 hertz or 28 hertz. It's really odd. I can't make my camera do 1/28th of a second. So that one, it's going to flicker. There's nothing you can do about that. There are some cameras that have what they call scan safe, which allows you to, and I think like the FX6 has that, the Sony, but it allows you to adjust that frequency of the shutter like by 0.1. So you could keep going up and that will get it. But also when you see it like people that have LEDs and you see the lines that just across their face and they just stay, then it's because they're probably either using really cheap bulbs or they're using a PWM dimmer, which is a pulse width modulation dimmer, instead of a digital control of dimming. And what that does is it truncates the voltage and it causes it to do that. Ollie says, thank you, Cassie. Happy New Year. There you go. There you go. Tilted Nucleus, we need an upgrade for that, right? Do we? I don't think so. Komodo and Komodo. There we go. Ollie, good answer. Hey, King. How are you? Happy New Year. Lucas says, the other day I saw a small company has adapted the LiDAR sensor from DJI to Blackmagic Pocket 4K. I suspect 2022 we'll see more products coming. Yeah, I mean, yeah, LiDAR is cool. I think the Ronin 4D, is that what that camera is called? Their implementation of the autofocus with the LiDAR and the 3D mapping is really slick. I dig that a lot. And I think we will see that get licensed, because if they didn't patent that, that's silly. Bruce! Hey, Bruce. Happy New Year, buddy. I tell you, I can tell the frequency of commercial LEDs just by looking at them. You know, you're not wrong. There are a few that actually make me sick to my stomach. Yes. And they don't realize it because they're buying the cheap LEDs. A good LED is a full wave LED for 60 cycles. And they're more expensive. That's why they don't make them. Or that's why they don't make them often. I know this from way back in 2005, when I used to do the big Christmas display animations with lights on houses. I did it on my houses all the time. And when I switched over to LED, I learned the trouble of half wave LEDs. And I had to spend like 10 times as much. Like a strand of LEDs was like $7 back then. But I had to spend something like $62 a strand for the full wave. Now they're much cheaper, but oh, let's just get rid of that one. Bye-bye. Block user. Bye. Lucas said, oh, I guess you already got him. You did. It's slow on my StreamYard because you got it over here, Ollie. Thank you. Lucas says, yes, Eric did it already. Where can I see it? I always learn from you, Scott. I don't know. I don't know if he's shown. He may have shown. I'll find it. He built one. He built a really good one. He built like a techno crane, but uh, fully movable, fully robotic. It was pretty impressive. I saw it. It's big, and he used like really nice motors. I forget the name of motors that he used, but yeah, it's I always forget it. He probably disappeared off here. He comes and goes. Um, oh, there's Sutton. Hey Sutton. He says I have the video. So that's where I saw it somewhere as a video. And yeah, you were showing it. I think when they were offering it for sale. I got to see it when I went over there and visited. Um, King's laughing, or Ollie's laughing at King. Um, Ollie says, Luca, yeah, I saw it too. LiDAR is the future. It is. LiDAR is seriously impressive. I just like the way that you 3D map and you can see the line go through and you know exactly. Here's the nose, to go to the eyeball with the line. That is really slick. King says the Canon R3 has a special feature to deal with LEDs. That would probably be called Smart Scan, I think is what it's called. Sony has one, I think it's the FX6, a safe scan, I think it is. One of those features. They used to have them way back in the old television days that I was back, before LCDs, because CRTs and televisions, they do a cycle at like 15 whatever cycles, 15 hertz. Um, the You could do a adjust the shutter so that it would line up because you would get the strange lines on those CRTs as well. But when LCDs came out and they were all literally at 60 or better, it stopped being a problem, and so they just stopped putting it in cameras. But they're starting to put it back because apparently it's a problem again. What's the workaround with Apple ProRes RAW in DaVinci? I don't think there is a workaround for ProRes RAW in DaVinci. I think those two are battling it out right now. Battle Royale, Battle Pro RAW. That was dumb. Ollie says, I remember Kessler had a motion control jib at NAB once, but I never saw the light of day. Yeah, it's not enough people want it. So it's like what we talked about with the other one is that they made it and it cost a large amount of money because they made it like a techno crane, and they built it really really well, and everyone said, "Oh, okay, I'll give you $5,000 for it," and they're like, "No, the motors cost more than that." So yeah, people are always cheap. I'm cheap. Don't get me wrong. Every time I have a conversation with Eric, he's always the same thing. He's like, "But Scott, I can't make it for that." And I'm like, "But I want it cheap. I'm cheap." I mean, I get it. We live in a strange world where we can get stuff really 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 cheap. Um, and Yeah, it's a thing. Sutton, if you're still on here, I need to order the the special coil cable you made for me for my run stop. I need to order another one that goes to the 3-pin run stop, so I can swap them out as I'm running them because that one has a 3-pin. So shoot me a message and I'll order that if you can make another one. I know it was custom. Um, King says Apple ProRes workflow is to stay in Final Cut and avoid DaVinci. I don't know if that's true. I know that there's companies. Silliness always happens. And anytime there's silliness, there's a look at that. Ooh. Let's see here. Battle Pro Rezial. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I get it. A bunch of stuff was delivered by Amazon. Ah, you don't have to let me know. Okay, I get it. Wow, that's a lot of Amazon orders. All right, who's got questions? Who's got questions? Let's throw some questions down there. If you have any questions, please post them. Happy New Year. Look at that. I put that down there. I'm really disappointed that it's not shifting up my, for comments banners. Shift. It's not. It's weird. If I do that, nope, won't do that. Fine. It does look like my stream is dropping a lot. I can't tell. Is it? And there goes the sniffles. Oh, I was sneezing a lot today. I mean, a lot. It was, I don't know what blew in. So many of my friends have bought vans to build out in the last month. I have 3 friends that all bought vans in the last 3 months to build out. It's kind of funny. Let's see here. And so they're all messaging me. I finally, we're like, let's just do a single group and then I can answer all the questions once. But if you're building out a van and you have questions, hit me up. I've built many of them now. I could almost doggy cam him. You know what? I'm gonna doggo cam. I'm gonna doggo cam him because he's being cute, but he always gets right next to my. All right, this may flash. I hope it doesn't. What are we showing? We showing? Oh gosh! Don't do that. Let's just tighten that back up. Wow. Let's loosen. Where's the dog? Where's the dog? Where's the dog? He's not being very useful right now. Well, he's a dog. There we go. There we go. Well, we can kind of see. He's a little dark. Can I bump him up? Is this touchscreen? It's touchscreen, but I can't do it. Oh, I just set focus. Well, that's not good. I can, there we go. Now we got a bright doggo. Curtis Boggs, hey buddy, Happy New Year. I may have to turn on the air conditioner. If I turn it on, it's going to sound like the world just collapsed. The air conditioner is not on in there. That will help. Let me turn that down in there. Because it's not even on. No wonder. I just need some airflow coming. I'm here, buddy. Relax. You see him kind of look at me like, where'd you go? Don't run away from me. He has learned, though, that to give me like 3 minutes, because I'll get up and go do something and come back. After 3 minutes, he gets up and follows me. He's such a good boy. Are you a good puppy, buddy? You good buddy? Hey, you good boy? You're a good buddy, aren't you? You say hi to everybody. You good boy. Yes, you are. He's a good buddy. Oh, that's a good boy. Oh, was I blocking it the whole way? Oh, well. So much for enjoyments. Happy New Year, Curtis. Battle Royale. Go MXF or DNXHR. I mean, DNXHR works. Bob Gundu, Mystery Machine. Mystery Machine. You're talking about the Scooby-Doo? What's your wishes for 2022? My wish is, and I'm going to, I keep saying this stuff and not making it happen. And so I always feel guilty about saying it, but my wish is to conquer my time management, and I want to put out a ton of videos. I want to work a ton more this year, It's that's kind of what I'm doing for 2022. 2022. So we got film channel, we've got music channel that hasn't happened yet. Tech cuts, raw cuts for food. We're doing that, and then finer cuts. But I don't know. I want to throw in an everyday channel, and I want to put out videos just all over the place so that I get the stuff out of my head and out to the world, so it'll stop filling my brain. But one thing we're going to be doing a lot of in 2022 is expanding and learning stop motion animation. And yeah, I've got some stuff for that, and it'll be fun. And I'll be showing some of that on here because it is filming, and it might be fun. I can't wait for Christmas 2022 deals. Art says Scott's wishes for 2022, same as mine. When is the Raptor showing up? Yeah, I'm looking probably just based upon jobs in the future, probably March for me now. It's not quite as fast as I was hoping, but it's all good. It'll happen when it happens. Ituwaka, whatever that is. Everything happens for, I don't know, whatever. But I will, look at you, man. You're good, Ollie. Yeah, I will be getting on the Raptor soon. If you don't notice, IRIX 30. It's pretty good. Look for a review coming soon. And the filters. I've got them on my list. Literally, the studio was fixed this morning. We have been redoing everything in here, cleaning it all up, getting it back to reality. I mean, he's dead tired back here. Look at him. He's extremely tired. And it's taken this long. So we're reorganizing everything. We're not done, but I was able to shoot a video today for the first time in 2 weeks. It's the music video. And yeah, that's been a lot. So we'll be able to knock stuff out, really, hopefully. David says, I would like to know if you have used your new PC enough to give formal recommendations on whether you honestly feel the purchase for the specs ordered are enough or overkill for your work. Okay, so for what I do, shooting red, shooting 6K, some 8K, shooting 4K, not as much, but working with red, I absolutely feel that the M1 Max with 32 core GPU in the 16-inch is worth it, and get 64 gig of RAM. For many, many reasons. Number one, it just plows through, and I mean plows through red footage. And I will be doing a review on the M1 Max. I have been trying to figure out how to do it in such a way that it's not redoing what everybody else has done, but there's also massive flaws in what everyone else is doing. And I really dislike all the reviews because they're all using the same footage, the same formats, and they're not really showing anything. I know without a question that compared to the M1, compared to the M1 Max, it is night and day. I literally, right before I went live, I exported out of the video for the Tilted Advanced Power Module, and it's so fast. It exports out in faster than real time. It takes like 3 minutes for a 6-minute video. That's in 4K, H.265. It's insanely good for that. Now, Here's the things to understand. If you're getting a 14 inch, if you're getting a 14 inch, you have to have it. Then do not buy the 32 core GPU. Buy the 24 core. There is not enough thermal capacity in a 14 inch to get rid of the heat from the 32 cores. It will derate and declock or downclock the GPUs and the CPUs because there's not enough thermal ability in there. So it'll thermal throttle them. 24 is about the maximum that the 14 inch can do. On the 16 inch, 32 will thermal throttle if you do not run max power mode. And you have to go into the settings, preferences, battery, plugged in, set it to maximum performance. It will spin those fans up. And I have cranked my fans. They have been just blasting. But yes, 64 gig is paramount in my brain. If you're not getting the 32 GPU cores or 24 is kind of a gray area. If you're getting the 16 GPUs, you do not need a 64 gig of RAM. It's fine, you can get it, but 32. But do not get 16. 16 is marginal at best. You will run into issues with it, and it just gets masked by the fact that it has a really fast SSD. But don't be swayed by the 16 gig. 32 gig with 64 core, 32 gig with 16 cores, 64 gig with 32 cores. 16 inch is far better. If you got to get the 14, then go with the 24 cores. You will literally, the 32 core in 14 GPU will be slower than the 24 core. It's weird because it has to derate them so much. 2022 as in 2020 V2. Yeah, I've heard it. I don't care. I'm done. We're going straight in. David says, Happy New Year, by the way. Happy New Year, David. Hope you're doing well out there. Hopefully that question, hopefully that answer gives, hopefully I answered your question. How about that? If not, please feel free to put more comments down there. I will happily answer them. And I will be doing a formal video both on this channel for video creators and on Tech Cuts for other creators. Hello, Grip Tips. How you doing, buddy? You doing good, Dave? Come on, Dave. Let's do what we talked about. Yeah, let's do what we talked about. Whoops. Art says, for the A7S III, are you using Tough CFast Express or SD? Debating on the CFast. Couple of SD. So I use, for most everything, I'm using the Pro grades. I'm using the Pro grades SD cards for most everything. I don't shoot in 600 megabits, which requires the CFast or CF Express. When I do shoot 120 10-bit 422, then at the high bit rate, then 120 frames a second, then I have one of the 80s. I wouldn't mind more, but 80 gig is too small. 160 is just barely big enough to begin, but the price of it is just so cost prohibitive that it's hard to touch. I know that other manufacturers are coming out soon with the Type A. The little ones are Type A. I have one, and I don't use it much. I do like these Pro grades. They're really good. I think ProGrade has a sale now too. Kessler, or as Tim ruined it for everybody, Tim Doust, he said he sings casserole. It's a casserole. If it isn't the tips of the grips, I have to be careful. Get demonetized, Ollie. King says, I only have CF Type A's, so I'm never limited and faster up and down times. Yeah, you're limited on price, though. I mean, one 80 gig is costs as much as 328 gig of the super fast SDs. Grip says, hello, Allie. Kevin, how are you, buddy? Happy New Year to you. Hope you have a wonderful, I haven't talked to you, gosh, most of the year, buddy. Griptiff says, guess what, Scott? I'm on my desktop. Just slam that like button. Boosh. Yes, you did. I'm so proud of you. So proud of you, Dave. I feel like if we can teach Dave to click the like button, maybe 2022 will be a great year. And we're back. How was that? Was that pretty good? I could have brought a tear. I could have done that. I never could do that before, but ever since I got in my 40s, all of a sudden I became an emotional beast. I don't understand that. I cry at the little movies. I'm like, what? So I can cry on command now. Kind of cool. Proud of you, Dave, though. Grip Tips, Happy New Year, my man. Grip Tips laughing. No, laughing at Grip Tips. Lucas says, please, please. Yes, M1 review. Yes. Yeah, it's a phenomenal machine. It is phenomenal. Now, a lot of people don't need a laptop. It will be interesting to find out what they actually do in 2022 based upon the rumors, the rumor mill, things I've heard, things I know, things I've seen. Because what I expect is we'll have new iMac Pros, but they're not going to be super powerful. The Mac Mini may not be, may not get the M1 Max. It may not. There's supposed to be a Mac Pro Mini that I keep hearing about, and it's way off in the distance, but it's supposed to be a smaller version of the Mac Pro that is supposed to have all the power. The Mac Pro, which is going to be smaller too, is going to be a beast because it's going to have, I say 36 cores. Other people are saying 40 cores. They're saying they're going to take 4 of the M1 Maxes and put them all together. I'd say, yeah, that's easy. However, it's not necessarily inexpensive because you're going to have 8 efficiency cores, which are completely not needed in a desktop. So I say they're only going to have 1 efficiency core per die, 4 of them together, 36 cores. Be 32 high performance cores, 4 efficiency cores, and then up to 256 gig of RAM, which you'll definitely want, and 128 GPU cores. Whew. But yeah, look, it's coming. Rex wants to play with the airplane. He wants to play with the airplane now. Rex is, y'all see a shark? I've shown it before, right? Okay. That's a shark. There's a shark on his back. If he turns, you'll see it. Need Apple to give us some Mac OS on iPad Pro. I know. I had the previous generation, the 2020 iPad Pro, 12.9, and I upgraded to the new one. Well, literally just stick that right in the voltage. Because I thought we were going to get some porting, and I don't know. I don't know that it's going to happen. I'm kind of sad. I don't understand why they gave it Thunderbolt. Why give an iPad Thunderbolt when it can't use it? Makes no sense. Makes no sense. So this one's interesting. Let's just get rid of that one. Block user. It's interesting. So that was one that's weird, Ollie. One came through. I know you got the Darlene one, but another one came through that didn't show up here on YouTube. That's weird. Art says, gaming, thanks. Uh-oh. What? Battery cease. That's all I can think of is Aziz on, or no, that's light. Light. Aziz, light. Um, well, that's not good. That's not very thoughtful at all. We lost the doggo cam. Let me fix that. Let me rectify that. Let me figure out. Let's get ready. I can't do that actually. That would probably demonetize me too, wouldn't it? Where is my where is it? It's supposed to be right here. That's weird. Where is my black charger? I literally had it, and now I don't have it. Oh, did I pull it off? I did. Dadgummit. Well, fine. Let me just, y'all can look at my, oh man, I can't reach it. Really? Yes, I can. Well, huh. Aziz Light? I'm sad. I lost something. I must have the wrong yeah, I had the wrong one. Okie dokie dokie okie. Ollie says lesser troll. Grip says back in a little while, working on a union class. RN was just taking a break. See you in a bit. Thanks, Dave. We'll see you in a bit. Luca says PCI ports Mac Pro. I would say it has to have them. Some were saying it was not going to have them. I say it has to have them for many reasons. One of which is Thunderbolt 4 doesn't access the full width of PCI Express. And there's lots of like audio interfaces, Pro Tools. Those interfaces have to plug into something. And you can't just run them externally. Some of them you can, but yeah. King says, what are you expecting from camera manufacturers this January, February product reveals? I don't know if they're... I mean, let's just put 4 months. 4 months on the clock. Let's put 4 months on the clock, Bob. In 4 months, we will see, I think, 5 camera releases coming out from various manufacturers, and maybe 7. We're going to see some interesting stuff. What do I expect? I expect people to embrace 8K. I expect people to embrace full frame. I expect people to embrace larger than 8K. I expect people to embrace reality, and that is resolution matters, dynamic range matters, quality matters, frame rates matter. Yeah, that's what I know. Well, that's what I can vaguely say. Lucas says, February 2022, new cameras and products, new controllers for DaVinci from Blackmagic, March, April, DJI, Mini 3. Yeah, we could use a Mini 3. I know there's a lot of people that are disappointed with the Mavic 3. I wanted a Mavic 3. I don't know that I want a Mavic 3 now. I definitely don't want a Mavic 3 Cine. Yeah, I just don't know why. Is it charging or not? It's charging. That's weird. So this one just can't put out the output. That's weird. I'm going to walk over here because I think this adapter is over here. And if it is, I'll plug it in and we can get our dog back. We got to have it. What am I smelling? It smells burning. That's not good. And no, nothing's burning at the Balcom household here. What is this? That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. What happened to it? Well, maybe I'll look away. Maybe I don't see it. And I had it out. I literally put it out. I don't understand where it went. While I'm over here, y'all put those questions in there so we can get some conversating going on. That's weird. I don't know where it went. Oh, it's right here. Apparently, I do know exactly where it went. That's pretty impressive, Scott. Wow. All right. Rex is like, what are you doing? Really? Okay. Fine. Got no more plugs. Oh, what's that? Definitely don't need that. That's not plugged into anything. And the whole studio goes down. All right. These are the things that I'm doing to make sure that the show must go on, including my dog. So this goes in here. This one is far better. This anchor. The anchor puts out a higher voltage, which I think keeps this one running, which we will now open up. There we go. Let's see what happens. Bethany cease. Aziz, light. And we'll see. We'll see what we get. We have a puppy, but how long do we have a puppy? My display. Okay, it says it's charging. Okay, we'll see about that. All right. All right, what did I miss? What did I miss? Did everybody leave? No, actually, there's lots of people. Put some questions out there, everybody. Put some questions out there. Tell me what you're going to do for 2022. I told you what I'm going to do, which is better. Patrick says, a true professional review of the M1 Base Max has to be done with real 2 hours long form movie timeline on Final Cut Pro, Resolve a Media Composer 2021. Yeah, it needs to, but I mean, I would not do base model for a long form movie. I just wouldn't. I mean, if you're working on a long form movie, then why not spend $400 more and get the high performance? I mean, we're literally talking about $400. I'm just not. My time is worth far more than that. Joseph, hey, Happy New Year. What's your sound setup for the live stream? Sounds great. Well, thank you very much. My sound setup is as follows. It is a set of Sennheiser wireless. These are the EW100. These are the G3s. They're up to G4s now. The lav mic. The lav mic goes straight up into my hat where you can see the lav right above my head. And then I go straight into the Sony A7S III right there. And that's my setup. This works really, really well. Hiding mics is fun. What? Message deleted. What? Did you delete Ollie, or Ollie, did you delete Arts by mistake? Yeah, Art. So Art had a question. I'm going to put it up here. I think it got deleted because he was deleting the other one, I think. Have you heard about a possible 3-camera offering from ARRI in 2022? Yes. Will I say anything? Yes. Will it all be in 2022? I don't think the last one's going to be in 2022. I think it might be the tip of 2023. But yep, there's going to be a 1, 2, 3 punch. Just think of their 1, 2, 3 punch now. Literally, like, you know, just like one or 1, 2, 3 punch. Joseph, also, Happy New Year. It's been way too long, man. Indeed, indeed. Patrick says, Mint M1 Max. It's based on M1. Yeah. You'll never see a review like that. That'd be really tough. It'd be really tough on someone to do that. I mean, really, all you're going to have is when someone cuts a movie on it. Then they might say something in the group, but that's about the extent. Because I mean, they're just not likely to do it. I don't cut anything longer than about an hour, hardly on anything. And I mean, so far it's pretty phenomenal. It's pretty phenomenal, and I've now got it up to 44 gigabytes of RAM used by Resolve. So Resolve wants it. It wants it all. Yeah. Ollie says, sorry, post your question. Yeah, it's hard getting those, Ollie, because you go to get it and you click on it and you realize, oh, it's already moved up. I don't know how you would do it on when the stream gets to like hundreds of people, which it will. 2022, we're going to get to 1 million subs right here, right down here. And the dog's going to do it too. The dog's going to make it happen. See, he moved his leg for. Yep. Every time he moves his leg, everybody click subscribe. Have you tested HDR workflows on the new MacBook Pro M1? No, I have not. The HDR workflow that I do is typically HDRX from Red, and it is a severe destructive force to CPUs and GPUs. And I have not tried it yet. I haven't had a project do it yet, and I don't believe that HDRX is optimized for Apple Silicon yet. I think. But I would like to do. I definitely want to dabble with some HDR, even for this channel in 2022. But we'll see. Patrick says reviewers always use short, unplicated time. Yeah, I know. They also this is the thing that irritates me to death. They will use the same clip and then they'll stack it 52 times. You can't do that. Software is intelligent. It knows it doesn't need to read that twice. It just reads it once. It's silly. Also, like when they stack, they go into Pro Tools and they use 200 plugins, and they're all the same plugin of the same track, and they duplicate it. You can't do that. That's not how it works. Joseph says, brilliant. Just mixed a feature where we were able to do almost 100% hat rigs. They sound so. They do. Because, I mean, you really want them right next to your face. And, the hat, if they wear the hat just right, it kind of gets that sound to pick up right by where your mouth is, but you get no pops. You get no plosives. I love that term, plosive. It's like, how do you want to describe a pop? It's kind of explosive. You mean plosive? That's like, describe the problem with the word, plosive. Lucas says, 2022, I need to buy new lights, aperture 600X, 1200D, modifiers, etc. Yeah, look for a review soon. I think I said too much. Not supposed to say that. Drew, hey Drew, how are you, buddy? Happy New Year. LOL, it's not silly. If the opacity is changed, then it's utilizing all layers at the same time. It it's not true. Um, if the opacity is changed, yes, but some of those reviewers are not doing that. It's I'm not saying all. What I've seen some do is where they'll take the four and they'll put them in four quadrants. Okay, that's good, but you can't just line up a whole bunch of stuff. It doesn't work that way because I've done it. I went back there and I did it and I laughed at myself when I did it. I was like, of course it's going to be. And then when I staggered them, then it changed it considerably. Um, the dog was waiting for you to open the box with the plane in it and review it. I've opened the box. This is the Horizon Hobby Night Radion 2 meter from E-Flight. It has LEDs up and down everywhere, and it's a beautiful flying plane. It's just sitting here because I got to put the box in the attic because the plane's in there. I got lots of planes. That's you can thank Eric Kessler for that. He got me back into it. My wife was like, not happy. I was really big into model airplanes, really big, back the early '90s, and she was very happy. It was all gas back then. Um, did you see the new Easy Rig Stable Light? That's on my list. I did not. I did not. I will have to check that out. Matt Weeks. Yo, Matt Weeks. How's it going, buddy? Happy New Year, and thanks for being a channel supporter. Definitely appreciate that. Now's a great time to mention you can become a channel member. It's easy. You just click down there, membership. You get to see the videos ahead of time if they're not NDA'd. Usually, you get to see them for about 8 hours. It's supposed to be a day. I try to do it a day, but you know my internet. I upload them, and they take forever to upload here until my internet gets fixed or Starlink. Please. So yeah, you can support by becoming a channel member, or you could support by PayPal down below. Use an Amazon link. Use B&H link. Use coupon code Scott Balcom at revarscity.com. Get 20% off. Use coupon code Scott Balcom at Kessler Crane using the link down below. Get 5% off. Or B&H or Amazon or, or you could super chat. You could just click the super chat button and say, send Scott V Raptor. And yeah, that's how you can support. But I appreciate each and every one of you. Matt, Happy New Year to you. Thank you. It is a short one. Yeah, it is. It's bad. But it's nice to see them sooner. It is. It's cool. Some of them I can't do. Like, for instance, there's a video that probably just finished, or it probably hasn't finished, knowing the video. It's only supposed to take an hour. And I just need to get it up fast and quick. I didn't know I was making the video rapidly until last night. So I had to get it done. So any word or rumors on Rona 3 development for large camera cine lens setups? There's going to be one. It is, I suspect we will see it mid to late this coming 2022. And I think you're going to see some of the DJI 4D, Ronin 4D stuff on it. It'll be fun. What is he doing? Is he running in slow motion? I should stop motion animate my dog running. That'd be hilarious. I mean, the Ronin 2 has become the industry standard because it's a heavy workhorse. I mean, everybody wants upgrades to it, and they want it to be lighter. And I mean, DJI can certainly do it. Patrick says it's not a matter of FX stacking, but how complicated your can your FX ridden long for timeline be still fast enough to edit with? It's true. To me, one of the biggest sluggers for the timeline is noise reduction. And I forget what's the name of the channel. One of you guys recommended the channel to me for Resolve. It's the English guy with the beard, or maybe he's Australian with the beard, and he talks like this, and he did an M1 Max review where he did noise reduction, and he had the best review so far. Noise reduction destroys CPUs and GPUs. However, the M1 Max can run with very few drop frames with noise reduction enabled on 6K red footage, and it's kind of amazing. On the M1, it would be like 2 frames a second, but it's kind of amazing. Jeff Fagan, hey, Happy New Year, Jeff. I keep forgetting to ask. I keep seeing people post about the Breakthrough VND. Is it still on back order? It is. They are making them as fast as they can. It is. It's still on back order, but they are filling back orders. So a lot of people have received them already. They're working on the Cinema DFMs as well. Those are. I mean, it's hard to bring a product to market, but they are making those as fast as they can right now. But they're slowly ramping that up. So stuff is happening. The variable NDs are shipping, and I think they've gotten a whole bunch of those out. And I think I'll be doing a review on the Cinema DFM on the V-Raptor shortly, I think. Graham, yeah, we talked about it. Yeah, but they are awesome. They are awesome. Everything is awesome. They got demonetized. Let's see here. What? There we go. Yeah, variable ND is awesome, and it's what I run. It's what I'm writing here is the clear right now, but I mean it is always. I mean always on my Komodo because there is literally no reason to not run it. There's literally no reason. You pop the clear in there when you need clear, and the VND when you need ND, and I don't have to carry anything, and it allows me to run these beautiful, beautiful filters from Revar Cine, which, by the way, this one, that is the I just lost the can't read it. It is the I lost the name. This one's the PA Tiers. This is the new one. And if you didn't notice the Kessler Roll music video, man, my nose is going crazy. The Kessler Roll was all shot with PA Tiers. Let me message my wife. Amazon boxes at gate. Okay. Scarf dust. Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. Yes, that's scarf dust right there. I love scarf dust. PA Tiers has got a completely different look. And I will be doing A/B comparisons on them with the review video. But I'm saving it for 2022, honestly, to kind of fortify my position that I'm going to be cutting out videos daily all the time. I might as well make it happen. And it's literally tomorrow, not the review, but like videos coming out. Is it time in 2022 to have save file format in prod? Yeah. Boy, I messed up so bad the other day. I was in Resolve, and I've created a template, a read-only template for basically my entire how I do my review videos. And you open it in read-only. So I opened it in read-only, and I forgot to click save. And you have to go in there and you click save as and you save it as the new thing. And then you have your template. I don't know why they can't implement templates. I also don't understand why they can't have a default font. Resolve, come on. And I worked and worked and worked. I spent an hour on a video and it crashed. And so I went back in to get into my autosave and there was nothing. And I investigated. Also, autosave got disabled on one of the recent updates. I think it was 143 or 1643, 1743, because it was disabled. And I did not disable that. But I've turned on, what is it, instant save, I think it is, where basically you do anything, it saves it. It's saving. And I've done that. So I hope that's a good thing. We'll see. It's so far is working. Art, thank you. Scarf dust. Scarf dust. Let's get some more likes. There are 19 of you out there right now. Some of you are on Facebook. And if you're on Facebook, might I ask that you switch over to the YouTubes and give that thumbs up. Dave Donaldson learned how to do it. You can do it. I believe in you. Jeff's like, I ain't doing it. Matt's like, I ain't doing it. Drew's like, I ain't doing it. Let's see here. What is that? Who is texting me? It's so hot. So hot. Humid. I want one of those adult beverages. She hasn't offered to make one either. That's sad. I have a sad life. I still like this. Hi, neighbor. Oh, yeah. King's like, Facebook's still around? It is. Yeah, it's all meta now. Literally meta. Jeff says, I did it on my Reach Films account. Well, good for you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, Facebook is hilarious. I took that month off from Facebook and it really did make a difference in how I interact with Facebook. I definitely do not go on there as much. I might hit Facebook 3 times a day now, and it's just to get comments or ask a question or make a strange post, and then I get back off. And I do like that. Resolve should implement the attic concept of Avid for saving edits. I think they did. I think it's called it's what I enabled. It's literally every single thing you do, it saves it right after you do it. And then you have like 120 levels of undo. It's a lot. I'm sure there's a negative to it. I just haven't found it yet. I'm sure there's a negative. Are you doing another social media detox soon? I don't know that I need it. I feel really good right now. Instagram, I go to Instagram about once every 3 days. And that's about it. Unless I post a video, then I just post it to all of them. But and I'll be doing those deep thoughts that I did that one, like you shouldn't be a plumber if you bite your fingernails. I'm going to be doing more of those just because I like to be funny. Some people tell me I'm not funny, and they're right. Well, what is that? How'd you do that, Matt? You're supposed to. Oh, is it? Well, that's weird. What is it? I don't. It's not showing up here, but Matt has been a member for 4 months, and we all appreciate. That's weird. I can't post that. But Ollie says, "All right, bud, off to welcome the new year. Catch you 2022. Peace, buddy. Be good. Be safe. Have fun. And yeah, you're gonna enjoy the new year. Appreciate you. Really do. Really, really do. But yeah." Oh, well, Matt's like, I don't want it. Well, now it's retracted. Well, fine, Matt. Fine. Just retract that. Um, so yeah, on the detox, I I do Facebook so little. Um, Honestly, it's I have a morning routine. Everybody does. Um, and the morning. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Um, wow, dude. Thank you. That's that's so sweet of you. Thank you, Matt. I really appreciate it. I really want you to get your channel going. I want to be a subscriber on your channel because Matt's a classic gamer um, extraordinaire, and he's a collector. He knows everything about all of them, and he needs to get his channel going. But thank you, Matt. Truly, thank you. Happy New Year to you, buddy. And let's take that trip. I don't know if I'm going to get to do that January trip, but let's uh, let's do make the trip happen because there's a bunch of y'all I want to go out and just kind of hang for a week out in the middle of nowheres and see what we can film, see what we can do. That'd be a lot of fun. Um, 3 minutes of wait time on Big Four's timeline every 20 minutes. Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah. Matt says, for some reason, it didn't allow me to send money with my comment. Glitch in the Matrix? I suppose. Oh, well, I mean, you're a member of the channel, so it's supposed to do that. It's supposed to, every time you make a comment, it's supposed to let people know, hey, Matt's a member, all that good stuff. It's supposed to do that. I don't know why it didn't. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of cool. Or not cool. Bob. Hey, Bob. I saw you earlier. Happy New Year's there, Bob. Scott, if you won the lottery tomorrow, what would you be doing? I'm doing my best to win the jackpot by watching YouTube videos. um, if I won the lottery tomorrow, what would you be doing? Honestly, if I won and if I had just two wishes this year, that was Steve Martin. If I won, let's just say, if I won $3 million net to me, so it's $5 million lottery, you pay the taxes, you get $3 million net. I would pay off everything. I mean, completely everything. I would immediately over here tear down two buildings and build a large studio. I would personally fly Elon Musk up here. I would drive him in a Tesla up here to my house and show him the internet speed so that he would let me go beta test on Starlink. And if anybody was thinking about getting me anything for Christmas, I mean, I know it's past, but if you just tweet to Elon and let him know that I need Starlink bad, that would be appreciated. But I would build a studio next door to here for me. I would upgrade my van, and then I would be 50% of the time on the road shooting nature, and 50% of the time in that studio shooting really cool stuff. Matt, I'm a big deal here. And you are gone there. Got you. Um, that's funny. I mean, I would also, I mean, at $3 million take home, there is an amount of charity that would not be insignificant that I would do as well. I mean, there's lots of people that have paid me, and I would love to pay that forward. Paid me. There's lots of people that have done things for me that I would like to pay forward as well. And I could easily see spending 25% of that doing that very thing over time, not tomorrow, because you want to continuously do that. I would also probably get a good attorney to put it all into a trust so that no one knows that I won. And I would buy two V Raptors tomorrow, and I would pay extra to get them in a custom color. And I would buy a full set of the Taquito Vistas. I would buy a full set of the Sigmas. And I would buy my wife the nicest car she would ever want. I mean, she also gets to buy whatever she wants too, but I mean, she's deserving of the nicest car. Um, let's see here. I love that. I'm a big deal here. It's funny. Patrick says, my neighbor has Starlink and I have ADSL. Wow. I mean, dude, mine is really bad. I don't even know what my speed is. Normally it gives me an indicator saying, well, let's see what my stream health is. Stream health says, excellent. Thanks. Super healthy. Thank you. Stream. It's not telling me what my, what just happened? Okay. One of you just ordered something from Revar. So whoever that was, thank you. I saw that just come through, well, the little commission. Thank you. That really is helpful. Bonanier? I don't know French. From Eastern Canada. I don't know French, so I can't. It's my French is horrible, so I don't know what that translates to. Maybe you should get two Komodo XLs instead. I didn't say I wouldn't buy a Komodo XL, but you got to wait for Komodo XL. You got to wait a little while for Komodo XL. Thanks, Bob. So many people are like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do because Bob Gundu said Komodo XL, and Jared Land turned around and goes, make sure you could see it. And it was back there, by the way. I would bug landed on there. I would honestly say, I mean, it's easy to say silly things when you haven't won the lottery, but it's something that my wife and I have talked about for a long time. Like I would try to help some filmmakers out there in the world. I've always tried to support filmmakers that I respect, and I see them doing great things and they struggle. I'm not crying. I've always tried to help and support them along the way, and people have done the same thing for me. And I would love to be able to do that far, far more. It would be kind of cool. Oh, I guess the video finally came up for the advanced power module. Advanced. Let's see here. Joel. Hey, Joel. You have to edit, so your wife's car ends up first. I mean, you're not wrong. No, honestly, the first thing out of her mouth would be pay off everything. Pay it all off. She doesn't care. Pay it all off. Write the checks. Pay it all off. And I think that's reasonable. At that point, you can all go, and then we can go buy a car. And I'd probably buy her a truck. I don't know. I don't think she'd want a car. I think she'd want a truck. I'd probably buy her a truck. She'd probably want like an F-150. Who knows? Who knows what she wants? We haven't bought a new vehicle in quite a while. Last new vehicle we bought was 5 years ago. Yeah. And I used to buy them like every year. I just don't do it anymore. Can't afford it. Art. Just snagged a scarf dust and PA tears. Thanks for the discount. Thank you, Art. I appreciate that. And that's awesome. You're gonna love them. They're interesting. They're two different animals. This one is very. I think it's subtle. This one is less subtle but different. And yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Patrick says, "Happy New Year from the freaking cold Canada. Negative 26 C tomorrow. That's what is that, like negative 2 degrees Fahrenheit? Something like that? That's cold. That's cold. Coldest I've ever been was negative 14, and it was cold. It was very cold. It was one time. It was in Nashville, Tennessee. Here it got to 0 degrees. That was last year, back in February. Still didn't put out that video. We filmed Simon Eisenbach, which I talked about on here. And he was on, I think wasn't he on one of my live streams once? Pretty sure he was. A friend of mine, he built the van down here. He came down and built it in February. And that's when we had the massive snowstorm here in Austin. And we filmed him. He had snow skis with him. And so we filmed him snow skiing behind my ATV, because I don't think anyone's ever seen anybody on skis in this particular part of Texas ever. Camille says, "Happy New Year from Europe." Happy New Year, Camille. What part of Europe? Interested to know. That's neat. It is New Year's in, well, it's about to be, isn't it? Well, it depends on where you are. It could be. Yep, Europe could definitely be that. Patrick says, "The first thing I did with my father estate is paying everything and the mortgage. Best decision." Yeah, I mean, it's true. If you can do it, it is absolutely a phenomenal feeling. It truly is. David Weldon, Happy New Year, buddy. And David's going to be coming on the stream soon. We talked about it very recently, and he's excited. We haven't talked since. He could have been on today, but I guess David had other things to do. But yeah, David's coming back on. David's done a whole bunch of work, and we can, since we kind of broke him in on the first StreamYard live stream. So it was a bit rough, and I was finding my way. I was kind of looking off to the side all the time, and I had to control the slideshow for David. Now we can do it all completely different, and yeah, can't wait to do it. Netherlands. David says, "Let's do it." Oh, Netherlands, cool. When you're free? When are you free? When are you free? Tell me when you're free. Oh, let's see. Happy New Year, buddy. Happy New Year, Gerald. Gerald is going to, I predict, by April 2nd, not 1st, because that'd be funny. April 2nd, Gerald will have more subscribers than I will on this channel. But we'll see about that. I want to get us equal so we can have a battle ProRes Royale. ProRes Royale. David says, "You never told me you were streaming today, or could have made myself available." It's true. I also didn't expect hardly anybody to be on for New Year's, but apparently people like to, hang out on YouTube live streams. Oh, you're available now. I can make that happen. Want me to make that happen? Hold on. Copy. I'm going to send you a link here, buddy. David. I don't have, it's coming via Facebook because I don't have texting from this PC. So click that link, get your camera set up. Oh gosh, where did it go? StreamYard, there we go. Oh, there, I'm back. Okay. And then I think I can do audio. All right, I'm gonna turn this audio. Well, I'll wait for David to show up, and then I'll bring him on. And we'll see. We'll see about that, David. We'll see just how available you truly are. Weldon's pretty bad. He is. He is. He's a little badass. Exactly right. Camille says, bought the Aperture Spotlight Mount 36. Thanks for the, oh, my pleasure. I love that thing. That thing, well, I mean, that's it right there. Well, there. I love the Spotlight Mount. It is really well done, as well as the Spotlight Mini. It is really well done. Let me get my laptop up. We'll see. If I see him appear down there, we'll bring him on. We'll bring David Weldon and we'll see what we can do. Let's see here. Yeah, the Spotlight is cool. I do use that. Well, I use it almost every single shoot I'm on. When I go corporate gigs, anything like that, throw a pattern against the wall. It's awesome. Loves it. And the 36 is definitely key. Well, the 36 is the wide one, and the 19 is really tough to use. The 26 is what I have. The 36 is better and wider, but it's not quite as sharp as the 26, but it's a trade-off because it would be nice to not have to have that spotlight so far away from the window because it's literally against the back wall. This is a set wall here, so that's a set wall. But it's back over there blasting through my fake window. And it's it has to be all the way against that wall to blast to get that to look like that. Yeah, we'll see, David. All right, who's got questions? Because we're gonna have David on here really soon. We'll see how that works. We'll see if he can hang, if he can do it. I mean, we already know he can. But he's been busy. He's been very busy. I miss hanging out with him. We didn't get to hang out when I was in LA. He was not available. Now I kind of want an adult beverage to hang with David. Oh, Tommy. Hey, Tommy, buddy. Happy New Year, buddy. Super sticker. I like that. That's the first super sticker, I think. Camille says, a bit out of focus is where I go for. I mean, you're not wrong. It is a little sharper than normal. just looking at it, it's not normally quite that sharp. It is usually just a little bit detailed. Okay, he's here. Hold on. Let me. When you got a thumbs up, I'm going to throw you in. Okay, I'm going to throw it. Here comes David Weldon. Let's see what happens here. There he is. Well, let me turn on my audio. Hopefully this doesn't feedback. You say hi?
Hi, can you hear me?
Oh, hi. I hear you.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
Nice.
Hopefully I don't get too much feedback in the...
Oh,
Everyone...
I got the Facebook notification that said you were live. I was like, hey, what's that?
Well, I'm usually live on Fridays. Cynthia and I went back and forth. I'm like, no one's going to be on. I said, it's New Year's. Who's going to be on New Year's?
I mean,
everybody.
Well, it's 3:30. I'm back home in Los Angeles, so it's 3:30, Pacific right now. So
right.
Yeah.
So how are you?
I'm good, man. Just got back from visiting family for Christmas, and got back last night. And yeah, that's about it. How are you doing? What have you been up to?
I'm me. I'm hanging in there. Every day is a new adventure, and it's kind of worth it.
Yeah. Right. So is that a shot of your dog there?
Yeah, it's my dog Cam. My doggo Cam. He's not being very cooperative right now because
he's sleeping.
Well, that's all he does.
Oh,
that didn't help. That made it worse.
That's good.
I should look at the camera before aiming it. You'd think I was a DP. he moves around, and so I just kind of started putting it on. Wow, that looks horrible. Why did I? What just happened? Why?
There's like a double box inside a
Oh,
double
well, let's
box
just do
inside of
this.
the.
There we go. Let's do
Oh,
that.
okay. Oh
that
yeah,
was
that
just
makes sense.
that was just a
Yeah.
little. You got to have the dog on there. Um, so you can. I think
Can I
you
share stuff like on
you
my screen and stuff
can.
like that? Okay.
Yeah, and
I
you can.
better close out all my other tabs.
Yeah. Get rid of all
Just
that stuff.
random things. I'll make sure
Um,
everything's
there
closed.
should be a button at the bottom called share. I think. If not,
Oh yeah, there is. There is. Yeah, I see it. It's right next to
so
the media.
you can do slides. Don't don't do audio on video because
Okay, that's fine.
it'll demonetize. So if you could mute it, that
Oh,
would
sure. That's right. That makes
that
sense.
would help. Otherwise, it's like down goes Scott Stream.
Yeah, no, that
Thanks,
makes sense.
David. Kill off the stream right off the
So what do you want to talk about? What do you want to do?
bat.
I
Let's
mean,
see
we
here.
didn't plan anything. We were talking about getting
No, we did
together
not
a
plan
while ago.
anything. We literally
Yeah.
talked about it that,
Hmm.
and you were game for it. You were going to visit family, and we were going to make it happen. And I had no clue if I was going to stream during the holidays because I mean Christmas and the New Year's right on both on Fridays. It's like it felt weird. And then you're available, so yeah.
Yeah.
So you've been busy. You've been working even through 2021, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a decent amount of work during last year. I'm even trying to think when it all. Yeah, I guess because technically everything started to pick up December of 2020, and then more work started to come. But it wasn't a lot. Like there was definitely a lot more people out there that I think were busier than I was. So, you
Well,
know,
yeah. I mean, some people like never they never
yeah,
even knew that anything happened in the world. It's
right.
weird. And if anybody has questions for David, because I think he's going to show us some cool stuff, because David
Yeah,
can do
let's
that.
do some stuff.
Just pop the questions down there below, and we'll get them in here. Let me just run through
I was gonna
a couple of
text my
questions here.
girlfriend real quick.
You have the Amaran P60C, right? How's it been working for you? Mine just arrived. It is fantastic. I like the P60C. It is the Baby Nova. It is fantastic, really good. But watch the dimmer on it. The dimmer is not good for high speed. Patrick says, are there continuous aperture zoom lens for continuous aperture zoom lens for DSLR like on ENZ? Yeah, there's lots of them. Uh, there's lots of available EF and PL that are parfocal, is the term. There's lots of them. King, what kind of plugs do you have that you were able to get? I've been waiting. Oh, Gerald. I have some friends overseas. Oh, you bought one of those, Gerald? Oh, be careful, dude. Be careful. Let's see. Wow, Scott, live streaming and uploading video simultaneously like a boss. There we go. Okay, so what do you got for us, David? What do you want to share?
I mean, I guess I'll just put up. Hold on. Let me
Tell us
screen
your
share.
tell us one of your big cool ones because I've seen you've showed me some of the stuff already.
Sure.
Let
Let
me
me
just delete
do
this person.
screen share.
Yeah.
And hold on, let me see. It's telling me open preferences real quick. I just got a new computer, so like
What'd you
not
get? What'd you get?
everything's there. I got the new MacBook Pro, just the base model.
Base model. You just wanted it
Yeah.
now.
I don't honestly don't need the bigger stuff. I mean, I just
Well,
don't. I
you
don't.
don't edit much. That's
No,
not.
I
Yeah.
really don't. Okay, so am I sharing screen share again?
I like King says simultaneously like a booze, not a boss.
Okay, there we go. Okay, can you see the window now?
Oh yes, I can. Let me put that
Okay.
in. If you're ready, add to stream, and boom. Let me
Okay.
get rid of the question. There we go. Let me get rid of my banner. Get rid of that.
So if I move the page, it
Yep.
moves the page, right? Okay,
Yep.
cool. I'll bring up the one of the last bigger jobs I did was I did this commercial project kind of campaign for General Electric that we shot over in Hungary. And hold on one second. I can keep talking. Hopefully you can't see me running away from the camera. I have to just change the timer on
Um,
the oven. Um,
I've never
but
done that on my feed. No one's ever
no,
seen me run errands or do anything.
um, but yeah, so this job we shot in the course of 2 weeks um, in Budapest, and part of it was for General Electric, and I'll play the spot and I'll mute it while I talk about it. And
What the world needs now
can I mute it?
is
Oh,
people.
there we go.
There we go.
There's like 3 or 4 different spots that we did, and the whole concept of doing it in Budapest was because we needed to shoot specific things for General Electric, like the first being um, a MRI machine, which I think you'll see here. Yep, it's coming up there, which is really crazy to shoot with something like that because you can't, if you're using one that's active, you can't be in the room with it because it'll fry anything electronic. So like if
Right.
even if you have like a pacemaker or anything like that, you can't be in the room with one while it turned on. So we actually went to a repair facility to shoot it. And then we did a lot of things within the G facilities to save costs, and we kind of almost used some of their office spaces as like a studio space in some regards. The only thing that we shot technically on a stage would have been the airplane piece that this little that little part, which had for other spots. There's other shots and things that we did that are interior and stuff like that. We had fake airplane, the kid and all that kind of stuff. Um, but I'll scroll down just so there's more. Let me zoom out a little bit so I can get some more in there, so you
And
can
I
see stuff like that.
and I think on any of the future videos, let's like play like 3 seconds of it and then pause and
Hmm,
then talk about it because I know you've worked on some music videos. If you share any of those, if the
sure.
video shows up, it's gonna flag it too. So
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I don't
But
think GE's gonna
since you're live,
flag for
no,
commercial.
yeah, commercials won't flag. Yeah, that's for sure. I've learned that because during the height of COVID summer, I was doing some interviews and just talking to people, just like everybody was, just to do different things. And I ran into that problem immediately when I was like, oh, I'll gather people's footage and I'll play it back. And I'm live on Facebook, and it was like boom, shut down, boom, shut down. I was like, oh my gosh. So it was kind of wild, for anything that's copywritten, as far as like a film or a music video, it's Facebook Live and YouTube Live, and almost all of them are going to catch it right away, which is kind
Yeah,
of
and
nuts.
if anybody is on Facebook still, let me know if you're still getting this because I wonder if it booted me off on that. Let's see.
Yeah.
It didn't.
Um,
It says it's live still, but we'll
yeah, I
see.
think the big thing, I think, that to talk about this job a little bit was more just the creative and the sense of like it's all a bunch of little vignettes, and it's all a bunch of different scenes and sequences, and a lot of this is captured in camera, and some of it is visual effects, things that are accentuated, like for example um this scene down here where the woman's hugging her daughter and stuff like that, like a lot of that stuff where normally you could create things in camera, and we had to accentuate some of this beam, like that's a real light over there, you know
Right.
it's not a sun poking through. We tried to make it, I forget exactly what was
Can
used
you
out there,
enlarge
but
that, or is that?
I think I can. Yeah, I can make it
I
bigger
think I can. I
and
think I
scroll
can.
to it.
I think I can.
Well, I went backwards. Um,
That's not helpful.
yeah, let me see if let me zoom in more. It
Use your
only lets
scroll
me go
wheel.
zoom in. It only
Pinch
lets me. It
pinch to
doesn't.
zoom.
Can I? I can't pinch the zoom on desktop or laptop, can I? It's not an iPad.
But
Oh, because
your
I'm not.
trackpad. Yeah, you can pinch to zoom on your trackpad.
Yeah, it just keeps trying to make me
Oh, okay.
like move the image, but it's this one here on the left.
Yeah.
Um,
So
but I mean, a lot of this
that's a
stuff is
that's
really
a
simple.
that's an actual light there.
Yeah, it's an actual light there. It's like I think I have a 12 light Dino or something like that over there. And it was really, the idea was to use, like, I think when some people look at lighting and they think of things and you're like, oh, and I'm speaking from a perspective of someone that's maybe just starting out. I think sometimes like, oh, the lights are, how do I know how to use the right stuff and things like that. You can never go wrong with going bigger because you can always shape it down. It's always harder to take
Right.
a small light and make it bigger. And then the grand scheme of things of like why would you use tungsten, and that's always a big question because obviously there's daylight out this window. Fortunately, we're in a shut down airport, that is no longer functioning in Hungary, but they use it for commercial stuff all the time. Like it's no longer, I guess I shouldn't say shut down. It's no longer a public airport. And
Gotcha.
so it's a lot of commercial and, military, private, that kind of stuff. So, I mean, even though there's daylight out there, like it was somewhat overcast, so I wasn't getting killed as far as nuking that out. You can still see that tree, which really helped. And then the time of day, the sun is technically on this side of the world when we shot this. And so a lot of it was really just kind of trying to accent things and make it feel like a mood. Like, there's some shape here and there's some shadow. And, I had some different, solids that come in 20 by 20 black solids coming in. Back here, there's some warm light pushing through, which is probably another Dino or like it's a, 10K Fresnel or something like that. And the big reason why using tungsten is mostly cost. I like the quality of the light. I mean, HMI is certainly pretty too, and you can make HMI feel warm and all that kind of stuff. But I find myself from the speed of commercials in music videos tending to go more tungsten just so I can have more fixtures to work with. And then it's always about finding a balance. Like for
Right.
example, to kind of, and this I guess maybe this is what we could talk about is tungsten versus you know LED versus HMI and when you're going to use it. This project, which I shot, same director. Both these directors are both same director, Joseph Kahn. Joseph and I worked together quite a bit. This was a project that had an okay budget, um, but Joseph and I sat down, and this was probably the end of last year. This was really like my first real project in 2020 after everything shut down.
Right.
I had done I went to Oregon and shot like a travel video with a friend of mine. It was like me and a producer, and I wouldn't even consider that like a project because the client was just like, "We need shots." None of it made any sense, but we had a great time, and it was just crazy, like getting COVID tested and all that kind of stuff, and driving around. But anyways, so this job, I did this entire thing with LED, the entire job, all of it,
Huh.
the entire music video, and it was all aperture lights. And I did get some help from the guys at Aperture. I know Ted, Sim,
Yep.
and Brandon, and a bunch of
Yep.
people over there now. I've known them for a number of years, and
Yep.
I really
Magnus.
wanted to. I wanted to kind of bring as much of a big scope as possible to a job that had a lot of creative design to it from what Joseph wanted to do. And we had a lot of different locations. I think we shot for 3 days and then maybe a fourth. I think he and I went around and did a couple insert shots and some pickups, just the two of us. I can't remember exactly. And at that time too, we shot like right before Christmas. Oh, I know what it was. We had to get shut down because someone on our shoot had tested positive. We shut down for like 2 weeks and then came back after the new year. And fortunately, that person was okay and nobody else got COVID. And we came back and I think we shot an additional day. That's what it was. And so there's a lot of maneuvering, and when you lose time like that and trying to make everything work, it gets difficult. But for like example, like shooting in rooms where you have control, like we've got some really heavy curtains from the production design, some shears going inside of it, and then I've got a light outside creating that big bloom. And I think at the time I was using the the 600D. Yeah, it was the 600D because the 1200 hadn't even been announced yet. They hadn't even
Right.
wasn't even a rumor of it yet. And yeah,
Oh,
just
there was
and
a rumor.
there might have been a rumor at that time. I don't remember. But the I'm putting probably just full CTS or CTO or maybe even doubling it up just to kind of get the strength of it. And I'm not even that far off the window, really, to be quite honest, to kind of get that tone to it. And then I know I'm taking, even though I'm not a big fan of Aperture's Lico system, because I think it's too long. I just don't like the length of it. But I mean,
It's
version
long.
one, version two will, they're going to make different stuff. So at some point, not that I know anything, I'm just saying like companies evolve and they change. I think it's a great
Everything they evolve. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a great first start. I just think like this room is literally a bedroom in this house it's like one of those peer space rental houses kind of things where they're
Right.
rented for shoots in a neighborhood. And there's a lot of room, but it's like this bedroom is a 12-foot by 10-foot room. So you think about that from the construct of, okay, where am I going to put a stand? How am I going to light it? How do I, give
How
my
did you
director enough?
control the spill in that small room?
Honestly, a lot of it was done with these curtains. I mean,
Hmm.
outside, I'm sure my key grip may have shaped it a little bit. Like the time of day that we shot, you can still see some of the sunlight that's poking through right there. If you can see my mouse,
Yep.
that little bit of blue clear behind that light is easily like an 8x8, at least an ultra bounce, maybe a solid. I can't remember exactly what we did. And that's really just positioned so that if any sun does start to hit that room directly, it doesn't change the room. That's the easiest thing to do. I mean, you could do that with something smaller because it's not like I could I had to be backed super, super far off to get that light to do the effect that I wanted. And I kind of think that I really like how this turned out, just like with this little slice of different tonality to it, because the reality is the reason why I'm that close with the lamp is because I want to get that hot punch that then illuminates his face, that gives me a little bit of texture here and then falls off. But if I had decided to do something bigger, even say like a 4K or something like that, I would have had to back it off, and then backing it
Right.
off would have filled the window, and then I would have had to shape
Right.
it down to create this, and I probably wouldn't have gotten this kind of natural slice. So sometimes like using smaller fixtures can also benefit you in that way. It just kind of things, a little happy accident kind of thing.
Right.
But it's always just taking what the room gives you and saying like, okay, lights off, this still looks cool. There's a little bit of light poking through. It's not too much. Okay, there's nothing happening here. Like it wasn't pitch black, but imagine it being like as dark as this lampshade over here.
Right.
Um, you kind of go, okay, if I just pump something in a medium range through here, that's going to give me something that won't take over the room,
I mean,
And
how
then
much of that is grading and choices, or is that all in camera?
I would say it's grading too. I mean, you're still adding a lot in grading
What
because
what were you shooting on?
we shot Sony Venice.
Hmm.
Um,
You do like the Venice.
I do like the Venice a lot. Yeah, I started
What
using. I
glass?
We shot the Zine carbon fibers for this one because
Interesting.
uh, Joseph owns a set of those
That's right.
primes.
That's
I could
right.
introduce them to him a few years ago, and they're kind of there's something that we started using on a lot of different jobs just to kind of create a different look. Like it's definitely a more modern look. There's a lot of consistency and inconsistency in that glass that kind of makes it interesting. Um, I'm very, very interested to see what their new glass looks like because I know they
Oh, that
promote
yeah.
it. I know they promote.
The
They're promoting
the
it pretty
anamorphic
aggressively.
monsters.
Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, honestly, I'm curious to see what a budget anamorphic like that looks like. I mean, their budget like they're going to be 5 grand a lens, but which is not
Well,
cheap.
I've
But
got eyeballs on another anamorphic set coming out here really soon.
oh yeah.
That's got to be quite amazing. Luke has a question for you. How do you expose IRE values false color like
Hmm.
Shane does on his Flanders? Great work, by the way.
Sure. Well, thank you. Yeah, I come a little bit from the school of Shane Hurlbut. Shane kind of helped me get started in my career a number of years ago. We're still good friends. He's still a great mentor of mine, and I really did fall in love with the whole Flanders exposure thing. And I work off a Flanders DM 170 and a DM 250 if I can get the rental. I usually bring my 170 because it's 17; it's easier to travel with. And I for every camera has a different IRE exposure value. I think that the Venice, it really depends. I mean, like on a scene like this, I know I was underexposed a little bit, and it was partially kind of a creative choice because the Venice, like it's funny thinking about that image that Mark Toya shared the other day on Facebook,
Right. Comparing the
where it had
Venice
all
noise.
kind
Yeah.
of the comparison, all the different noise. Like the Venice has its own noise pattern that's kind of there, and I think people get a little freaked out when they look at noise pattern with digital, and they're like, "Oh my god, like oh noise, noise." But if you think about it in the context of like with 35 grain or anything like film grain, actually shooting on 35 or 16 or 8, like I was just at home scanning Super 8 millimeter film of my parents from the early 1970s, and it was like, whoa, look at the grain, and my
It,
mom is like, oh oh my God, the film's gotten worse. I'm like, well, that's just the grain of when you shot it. I'm like, that's the celluloid, you know. She's like, oh, I guess it's true, you
Could
know.
you
And
imagine some people today who've never seen 35 millimeter film projection,
yeah,
what they would react to watching it? And they're like, oh my God, it's the noisiest camera on the planet.
right. Well, that's what's funny too is when you take even certain, like if you look at a digital, like that's the thing my mother noticed, which I thought was interesting. But she was like, wow, like it didn't look this, you know, there was that much grain when you watch it on a projector. And I'm thinking about like, oh yeah, the last time we watched it on a projector was a kid, and that projector was super old. So you think of how dim the bulb is when it's
Right.
projecting it. So you don't notice some of those details. But when you're like, I'm playing it back on this new 2021 MacBook Pro, and it's got an OLED screen or whatever, and it's like it sees all the detail, you know, everything there.
Right.
So to get back to your original question, a little side tangent there. Um, I kind of vary where I think with if you're trying to expose like let's say like a normal commercial look in the sense of like say you have someone talking to camera and they need to look clean, you know, that kind of thing. I'm kind of in that 60 to 70 IRE range, but I'm watching it on the monitor and then I'm working with my DIT to say like tell me where the midtones start to kind of clip. And it depends on skin, depends like not every person is the same. You know, like
Right.
uh, Chase, the little Huddy, Chase is his name. His skin, like he's not super pale as a Caucasian, you know, 19-year-old male. He's got a little bit of a tan in him that is like almost like a little bit of olive texture in his skin that just seemed to eat the light a lot better. And when I say it ate the light more, it was like sometimes when you'll put a light at somebody, you know, like it almost seems like it reflects back at you. You know, like almost like it's like me. I'm very pale. I'm very fair skinned. I'm Irish, German. I'm all the you know the countries in you know Swedish, all those very pale, fair skinned countries. Um, you have to light somebody a little bit differently like that, which does change your exposure values. I think for this project, we had a lot more flexibility with it because of the style that Joseph was creating and the concept. Whereas I'm not shooting someone and needing to light them in a way that's like, oh, I have to light them in a certain way because they have a specific look that they always have to have. Because sometimes you might run into that with certain artists. That you know, like Mariah Carey only uses two different cinematographers, and those two cinematographers have filmed her for the last 30 plus years. And there is kind of a formula for Mariah because it's her trademark. You know, it's that's her look, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's no different than any branding, so to speak. So I think that's what was kind of nice about this project is I didn't necessarily have to be worried about that. Like we tried to shoot this like we would shoot a movie in that sense, you know, of something that was kind of a horror, scary kind of piece. The whole concept is that he's a vampire, obviously a coffin and all that kind of stuff. And we had some visual effects pieces, and a lot of it was done in camera. And you know, Joseph's really brilliant in that way, where you know, like we had this whole sequence where he's like popping up, and then the camera's moving in a way that he kind of like all of a sudden appears like he's you know flying as a bat. But we don't ever show any of those kind of bat elements. Like it's almost very Spielberg-esque in a way of like you think of Jaws, like you know how many times do you actually see the
Yeah.
shark in Jaws, and there's a practical element to the reason I think you know it's something I'm kind of assuming that Joseph did it this way is how much money do we have to spend in visual effects, you know, and that kind of stuff to be able to have him fly away as a bat. Like for example, if I go to the very bottom here, the last frame, he kind of like dissolves into like supposed to be like fire and you know maybe I assume it's kind of like little bats and that kind of thing, something like that. So but yeah, I mean a lot of these places like yeah, sky replacement there, that's pretty, you know, pretty common.
Let's go through some of these. Scroll up some.
Sure.
Go back
Yeah.
to the standing in the aisle of the grocery store.
Okay, sure. Yeah, in there.
Um, there it is. Okay. Uh, this is this is just a location that you found. Is
Yeah,
that
that's the location. It's like there's a number of different like 7-Eleven type convenience stores that
Right.
ran out all the
Did you
time.
use the factory lighting or the overhead lighting, or did you replace those bulbs?
I used the regular bulbs that were there actually.
Because it has that look, and sometimes why reinvent the wheel? I love that look, where it's kind of gritty and greenish and
Right. And that was kind of the feeling when we walked into the room. One, it was time did not allow us to fully pull all the tubes down if we needed to, and replace them. But I mean, I easily could have taken, some Astera tubes, or something like that. Just and Astera is kind of becomes the go-to for a lot of reasons of that it's self-contained, battery powered. You can pop it off and throw one in there, turn it on, and you're good to go.
and did you black wrap over the lights that were back behind camera to kind of darken it? It looks like it
I
kind
think
of
we might
falls
have
off to the edges.
I think we might have actually been able to turn those off from what I remember.
Oh,
We
nice.
definitely brought in some at least 4x floppies and some solids and things to, near camera and we kind of just moved that
It
around.
definitely draws your eye
Yeah.
into him
Hmm.
in the
Yeah.
middle, as it should.
Right. Oh yeah. And then obviously adding like you can feel the darkness a little stronger in
Right.
this area. That's definitely, we're adding a little vignette, in post, to kind of shape it in a little bit. And then the redness, at that time I was playing with a prototype Nova P300C. And so that's all the Nova. There's even on this, more close up of him. Uh, excuse me. Um, that thing packs a wallop for sure. Now obviously a year later now the 600C is out. But yeah, so we ran around with really just that, and then adding the neon is there practically, as well as the one back there that is not original to the location. Our department brought that in and sat that in. But yeah, that's kind of it. And then doing a little bit of a little bit of fill light here and there with stuff that's it always changes. Fill light can always change, like especially when you're on the move for a music video. Certain projects you're going to set up something bigger, like bouncing a light into a big rag, or you're going to bounce it into a piece of 4x4, 8x8 beadboard or something, or 4x8. But sometimes it's as simple as, like, okay, I don't really want to bring his eyes out completely, but I just need to put a little something there to add a little more contrast or a little less contrast and just lift that a little bit. Because you also don't want it to turn into a situation of, okay, we're going to put a power window on his face, but we don't want to mess up his hair. And when I say power window, I mean like going into the color grade. Um, you got to do something, and so it's as simple as like a little tube, a little it's a quasar tube dimmed down, or a Stera tube, or sometimes just something quick. It's easy, it's simple. I mean, I'm always even looking for stuff like what can I get at Home Depot or Lowe's
Right.
that I can throw around places. We got lucky where like you can see it back here and back here. Um, those singles are tubes that we added, but those were already there. And so that was kind of nice where I was like, whew, like, because we walked in
Yeah,
there and most
it's
of
subtle.
the
It
previous,
doesn't
yeah,
stand out. It's nice.
right. And I didn't have to do a whole lot, which is, I mean, that's kind of the key is oftentimes I think people try to think of like, you know, how do I, if I see how it's done on a movie or see they're building all this, Marvel, they're building, building, building. But if you really think about it, they're just building for a scene in a Spider-Man movie. They're just trying to build this. So think
Right.
about it. Okay, how many overheads are you going to have? How many lights are you going to have in here? How many neons? It's not much more than that. And the idea behind this was really the red light was to kind of make it feel like this a little bit, which we then just kind of wrapped around to come onto him just to give it a sense of mood. So we didn't want it to be white light, or we wanted it to feel somewhat in relationship to the location, which that was already there. All that's the way that place looks. So we just, okay, that's going to be our motivation, you know, and sometimes less is more, simpler is better, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you don't
But
want it to look lit. You want it to look natural.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So,
Um, and my internet is starting to glitch. So if I
okay.
disappear, you probably can continue talking for a bit because
Okay.
StreamYard will let it continue, but I can see it dropping out periodically. So
Gotcha.
that's
All good. Where I'm pulling it up so I can see where. Okay, so we're there. Yeah, and even like the only real thing added to the exterior is a soft key light on them, which was an aperture 300D with their little gem ball attachment on top of a jib arm. We just we put a jib arm out there and put the light on it. And the jib arm was really just from a cost standpoint. It's a lot cheaper and easier to get that than renting like a condor or anything
Right.
construction related. So, because a condor you're gonna have to have it delivered, it's gotta be dropped off, all that kind of stuff. And I didn't need to do a whole lot. Anyways, it didn't need to be something that was like, oh, I'm rigging up 4 or 5 sky panels. I need to get 60 feet out. Like this was like a Cam 8 jib, and it was I think max extension at like 27 feet. And then we only
Right.
went max extension just to give ourselves the room to move around. It was just so we didn't have to have the base on top of us. But that Cam 8 can get down to 15 feet, and those things are to buy. They're only like $15,000 to buy, so the rental on those is between 350 to 500 without the crew. As far as the equipment. And then my key grip, his company owns that jib, so they kind of, like a lot of the guys that work through that grip house, they all know how to build it, and so we just structure. Okay, how many people are we going to need on this day, and then we realistically figure out like, okay, well, we can't go too crazy because the budget's only but so big. What can we do while that's being built? Okay, well, I only need one guy to be with me while I'm shooting the interior of this stuff, and then we're going to finish the day out in here shooting the exterior because we need to take time to build all those things. So it's all just about scheduling that. And then keeping it simple. This was bounce boards, Nova light, the light that already exists, overhead light, and and then I think we had a couple of the 60Xs, which I don't have frame grabs of the shots, but in the video itself, like there's some close-ups of like a foot and some other like a hand and things like that. And then just to give me like a little pop here and there. And part of the reason for trying to keep it as much aperture stuff as possible was so my gaffer could stand next to me on the Sidus link and just, oh, we need to bring that up.
Right.
Boom, boom,
Adjust.
boom, boom.
Yep.
Yeah. And music videos are always about speed. That's the biggest thing, so finding a look, and sometimes you'll pivot. Like I don't remember exactly what I was originally planning on doing in this room, but it wasn't this. And it was definitely way too much. And then by the time the day started to kind of reveal itself, it just became simpler. And then once we start shooting it, Joseph looks at me, he's like, yeah, this looks cool, looks great. Like I think I actually was trying to put too much light. Even I think I had more of the pre-existing overheads turned on, and then I turned them off, and I turned to Joseph and said, what do you think? You like it darker? He's like, yeah, of course, darker, yeah. And I was like, okay. And because there was a part of me that was kind of like, well, but does it need to be? I don't, just sometimes you get in your own head and you think like, oh, it's a convenience store, it has to be this, and then you forget you're
Right.
shooting a vampire music video. Like, don't lose sight of that. And it's like, oh yeah,
You're
okay,
forgetting the theme here.
right, yeah. You start to get a little trapped in the location sometimes, and you just have to. But if you stick to things in a simple way, as easy as turning a light off that already is in the building, then great. And then I didn't have to interrupt all this getting ready out here. I didn't have to interrupt the lights getting set up. And, this was also a very narrow parking lot for where we had to work in. As we're working overnight because it's a practical location. And we had a lot of stuff. And so you're trying to maneuver like, okay, how much, like there is a sequence where we look back the opposite direction of these two shots. And then we pan as he like kind of disappears and walks out the door. And it was all about like trying to make sure like, okay, we don't see any of the equipment. Like it's all off to the side, and like, yeah, you can always, when Joseph fortunately has a really great visual effects team that he works with, and they're always willing to help us out if it's like, oh, there's a stand in a shot and it's really obvious, or there's something there that we really don't want. But when you can, try to avoid that. You don't want to end up having to just be like, oh, they'll just paint it out. It's like, no, back it up 10 feet. Okay, great. Now we've got the wiggle room to, if the pan needs to go more to the left because of the aesthetic, then that's okay. So
And for those who are watching that may not be familiar with this format, because it's been a while since we've done these, feel free to ask all the questions that you
yeah,
want. This is an interactive. I mean, it was completely unplanned, but it's interactive. If you're not asking questions, maybe you're not getting the answers that you want. I mean, David's happy to show all kinds of stuff, and he can also be questioned.
sure. That light back there, what side is it? I'm trying to remember. No, it's not that side. I think it's this one. That light back there, because these are technically two different directions in the same area, I think it's 6 aperture MCs stuck against a metal fence, which was kind of
Really?
cool. Yeah, that's all it was. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that was kind of crazy about this job, is it was all a lot of the same fixtures. Like, even here is a few different 300Ds and I think 300Xs. I think I had two 300Xs and I just let them go tungsten, and then a 300D, and then just finding the right values. Like, if you go look in the bigger wide shot, excuse me, there's another D up there, there's a D there. And then it was a lot of, this is all natural smoke that we're adding, on the day, and just little hand smokers, or guys, our department teams run around, smoke it up right before we go, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's simple, trying to keep it simple, you
This lick in the shoe shot. That's
know. Yeah, that was, we shot in like a little stage, little studio, and just black limbo, obviously, because you can't see it in the background. And then that's overhead is, I believe that's the P300. Like, they had a grid up in the ceiling, and then we're just making it kind of warmer. And then underneath, we had a bunch of the 300Ds down on the ground, because there was a bunch of different shots, because we actually did 2 videos, and we did some different looks for both videos. And the whole setup was all aperture stuff, and it was essentially, imagine like a round lazy Susan that he could stand on, which I don't think we actually had it turned, but we just, like, imagine him being in one spot. And then I just put like 180 degrees on the ground of, like, it was like 2, 4, maybe 5 300Ds and 300Xs kind of mixed in together. And then I believe we also had 2 more 300Ds on stands that were hidden behind black, kind of up high to backlight him, because you can see a little bit of this warmth here, which is really just that's coming off the Nova. And then the Nova was backlighting him centered, standing, and then he's crouching for this one. And then we used like all the different lightning effects and all that kind of stuff within the programs of
right.
The light. Yeah.
You explained, asked to stream the video of the scene. I think because it's a music video, this would get flagged instantly.
Yeah.
If you go and just watch it just pull up another YouTube beside it, then you can see these scenes. Luca was asking if this was Komodo on gimbal or Steadicam. This was all Venice, though, right?
I think we did do Komodo on this, because we did actually, yeah, because this was the first job I did Komodo with. Yeah, this was the first job. I remember that now, because I put my Komodo on my Ronin, and we used the Ronin like a Steadicam. And so this is Ronin, or Komodo Ronin. Like, essentially anything that looks like Steadicam or Ronin is Komodo, and then everything else was Venice. And that was really just more of a speed purpose of not having the time to, well, I got to rip the Sony Venice A camera and make it the B camera all of a sudden and put it in the Ronin. There's no project has time for that when you're shooting something, like a video or a commercial. You have to have the second body. I think we still had 1 camera team. We never shot 2 cameras at the same time. We had a Movi Tech, Ronin Tech operator. And I think we actually it's funny because I remember my first at one point was, I did have 2 firsts on the job, I think, though. Maybe we did. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember why Austin Lewis was there and Josh Cote was there. So I remember that particular day, I'm like, Josh was pulling on a camera, and Austin. Oh, I know what it was. Austin actually came out and gaffed that day. That's what it was. Because I couldn't get anybody. It was the town was so booked, and Austin used to work as an electrician before he became a focus puller, and now he's kind of taking a little break from the industry. And he
Yep.
came out and gaffed that day. And then at some point, I don't know what it was, but it was like I think we needed somebody else to be in the rig because we were having some camera issues with the Komodo because we were running beta firmware and stuff like that. And so my tech Kurt also knows the camera, so he was like, "Well, I'll stay out of the rig." And I was like, "Well, I want to be on the wheels." And Austin's like, "I'll put it on." So he actually did the walking shots in the rig, and I'm on the Ronin wheels, just kind of just trying to adjust his frame because we were in an alleyway at a stage that's like a big warehouse kind of setup, and the alleyway is not perfectly flat. Like there's a big long section that's like messed up in the middle that goes diagonal. So there's no like safe way to have like a long walking back shot with where someone's not going to bump the frame unless you're laying track and someone's standing on track or something, which we didn't want to do because time, and we didn't want to have that perfect techno crane feel. We wanted to feel a little bit of the walking. Whereas like this shot, where is it? I think it's a little further up.
Speaking of Komodo, did you see the new Tilta Advanced Power Module?
I did. I don't know if I'm gonna get it or not because I already have the wooden camera one.
Oh, if you have the wooden camera, then you have all the stuff
Yeah.
you need. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I need it because I have the wooden camera one with the little extra breakout box on it. But it does look really nice. I mean, I have the Tilta cage system and all, the
Right.
Tilta PL mount and all that stuff. And I bought the 8-sin, and I was using the 8-sin for a while, and then I went back to the Tilta. It seemed to make things easier for going in and out of the Ronin.
The Tilta cage is probably one of the best implementations of a cage. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind. I've played with the Ignite Digi one a little bit. I just don't like the size that it makes it, even though
Right.
it's supposed to make it build it out like kind of like the Alexa Mini body, which is
Right.
fine. There's
But
nothing wrong with that.
it's bigger than what you'd want. Yeah.
Right. I like the fact that I can still stay super stripped down and tiny. And I almost punted and went and got that system. And then there was a couple instances where having the Tilta cage, everything being really tight and tiny, made it so much easier. And I'm like, I'm going to stay with that. But I'm still trying to find other little, like, I feel like the best setup for a Komodo is like adding different parts and pieces from all kinds of sources, and just you find out what works based on how you're using it, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so.
Is aperture your preferred choice when doing gigs like this?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I think the big thing for this shoot was the app control. I haven't played with any of the Nanlux stuff. I know that they're kind of direct competitors, and they're a little bigger, I think, over in Europe. I've never really used any of their stuff, but the big thing that I like the color quality of all the LED stuff from Aperture. I've never had an issue with like oh that doesn't feel right or that color feels off. And I think the gateway drug to their platform are the little MC lights because they're so simple and they're so
they're
powerful.
so good.
They are so good. And I mean, the fact that you can get that 12 light case with the charging kit and you can just swap them out and go. I mean, I find myself using those more than I thought I would. And then as I work with different people, different gaffers all the time, I'll say, "Hey, have you used those?" And they're like, "No." I was like, "I'll bring a set so you can try them out." And then we'll end up using them all the time,
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Do you use the B7Cs for practicals too?
Sometimes, yeah. If I'm working in an interface that's all like Aperture stuff, which we did have some B7Cs on this one. I own 6. I bought 6 when they came out. But if we end up using Asteras, oftentimes my gaffers will use the NYX bulbs from Astera just because then it's all on one ecosystem. But it just depends. I mean, I think that could change just if more stuff keeps getting created, like even Aperture's inclusion of the quasar tubes inside of their Sidus link. I think that they were working on that kind of stuff.
It was a joint venture.
Yeah. but that's changing because the Quasar got bought and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
it was a joint
yeah.
venture through another company, and then
Right,
apparently
right.
both of them kind of said,
Oh,
after
that
that.
sucks. Because I
But
I
we
like
know
I like the aperture bulbs a lot better than the NYXs because they appear to be a little bit brighter to me, and the battery thing is what I love the most because
the case,
yeah, the case is really great, which I'm gonna buy because I've made a makeshift case. I wish I had a
dude.
photo of it. I could say it's
It's
so
so
bad,
good.
but the case, yeah, I'm gonna buy it. It's worth it. And the thing for me is with those bulbs is like you can get into a position where you find a lamp that you really like from the art department. And I don't know how many times the production designers turned to me and said, "Oh yeah, this is a really great lamp, but the wiring is messed up. Please tell me you don't want to use this one." And I'm like, "No, I can use it." And they're like, "Oh, my guys don't have time to rewire." I'm like, don't worry about it. I got a battery powered bulb." And they're like, "Battery powered bulb?" I'm like, "Yeah."
It's
And
so
I'm
fun when you say it.
right, right. And it's the way I
You're
look
like,
at it is
bing.
if you're in a situation where you're not going to see the bulb, then it doesn't matter
Right,
which bulb it is. It's like unless you're going for something specific as far as
right.
color and tone, and obviously there's limitations based on the first design of this
I mean,
bulb.
the
But
negative being that it only emits light mostly out of the top is huge. And I
right,
saw that the one guy, Harvey, is making
yeah,
a bounce for it, which is really
right.
slick.
Which is the NYX bulbs have that little bounce. It's
Oh,
kind of
do
the
they?
same idea, yeah. Which I've run into problems like that where I've done some. I did a commercial last year for it was a mid-sized commercial, something smaller that we had to be a little scrappier, and we used a bunch of aperture stuff. And I could see the lamp shade in the shot daytime, and I just wanted to put a little glow, and I didn't want it to be warm. I wanted it to be cool. And then the thing I didn't like was the half of the bulb is the electronics, and then the
Yes.
dome is. I was kind of like, oh man, But it's just something small and little that you're like, oh, no one's gonna notice that. But that could change. Version 2, version 3, whatever, all that kind of
Right.
stuff. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, I mean,
Uh,
yeah, those things are great.
you explain it. Says any way to set up a virtual set like this with a remote cast and crew, given COVID and geographic constraints, leveraging state of the art networking.
Who would, I mean, I don't know how you would, the only people that would be virtual in the sense would be the client or
Yeah, having
producers.
having some of the even the director
Yeah.
would not want to be virtual.
I know Joseph did one job virtual. I can't remember what it was for. I didn't go on that job. And it was during like the first 3 months of COVID. And I remember talking to him afterwards, and he was like, it was hard because it was really hard for him to communicate to the talent and
Well,
just interact with everybody because it was a full set and he's like in a separate area. That's the only time I don't really know of anybody else I haven't talked to anybody else specifically that's done,
well, and
sort
he
of
has
remote directing
such
that way.
visuals in his brain. If he can't look
Right.
around the room and see it, he's not
Right.
helping
Well, he's
either.
very involved. I mean, he's very involved too. Like he very much like a Spielberg Fincher kind of approach. Like he designs his own shots, designs the cadence. Like we work together on a lot of things, but it's he's the driving force. Like even as far as the look in a lot of ways, like he'll come to me and say, "Here's where I want us to go," and I'm like, "Okay," and that's which I really appreciate because of how invested he is in the projects, and then how it helps. I think I've had some people say to me like, "Oh, you kind of you don't get the control," and I'm like, I would rather a director tell me that this is where they want to go with the project that they've sold, they've pitched, that they have to execute, and you think of the difference of how much work a director does on a project versus anybody else. It's like that. I love that aspect of working with him because there's so much information that comes out of that I get to play with, and I get to okay, well, what about this? And what about that? What about this? What about that? But yeah, and I think in relationship to a virtual aspect of that, like I don't know how you could really do a job of this creative style um, virtually that way. I mean, already a lot of the pre-production meetings are being done virtual, which I don't mind because I think when I'm shooting at home, a lot of the times you don't get as many meetings in person. Um, just kind of the way it happens, whereas like if I'm traveling for a job, no matter who I'm working with, especially if it's overseas, there's a lot more time and energy being put into the pre-production because they know that you haven't worked with this team, you haven't worked with this crew yet, you haven't worked, maybe you're using a local assistant director. Um, so you'll go and sit and be in an office or be virtual for a number of days. So that's starting to happen more and more. I think that's the only place that maybe virtual really applies in that sense. I did almost do, but then the project fell apart. We were trying to do a whole virtual setup with phones and things like that, where there was I think it was CVS shot a commercial that was all virtual, and they sent kits to their talent, and they shot stuff like almost vlog style, and um, I believe there was like a behind the scenes of how they did it and all that kind of stuff. And I talked to some of the people that were, peripheral involved with it at the time because we were all trying to figure out how to do stuff like that. And it was the biggest thing was it was really challenging. It was really hard because you don't. The other thing too is like you don't have control over the phone. Especially if you're using an iPhone.
Right.
I
Um,
There is a way to control Android remotely, but it doesn't work well. I spent about a month going down that path and finding things online. It's brutal.
I know I'd done a job that was all virtual for Amazon uh,
Mhm.
uh, earlier this year, and it was okay only because we were so small. Just being
Right,
so
right,
small allowed it to work.
right.
Otherwise, that would have been rough.
Yeah. Like if you're doing like I know there's a company here in Los Angeles that was doing I think they're still doing like remote interviews and they did the 8-person interview with Stephen Colbert and the cast of Dune and it was all these little I forget the name of it, I got it written down because I've talked to the guys. They've got this like self-contained box that like someone wheels it into your house, the talent puts it into a place, plugs it in the internet and then boom it all starts to be, things start to happen remotely and it's great. It's brilliant, and I think that will exist in perpetuity because there's so many actors and individuals that I don't want to have to go to the studio. I don't want to have to fly to LA. I don't want to fly to New York to go do this thing, or I don't want to have to go to London or wherever I'm at. But we really need to put press out for this project, or we need to get you on that late night talk show. And then what we want it to look good. We don't want it to be, okay, hold your no, don't. Do you have a stand? Hold your, like because there for a while people it was all just laptop and stuff like that, which is only going to get even better. But I think for the next few years, that kind of stuff will keep existing. Um, as far as the little boxes that can remotely go into your house and all that kind of stuff. It's not
Right.
cheap, but that's
Right.
one way to do it. And it
Well,
can look
sometimes
good.
it can be cheaper than flying around a cast
Exactly. I mean, plus you
and other
figure
people.
too, if you're
Um,
if you're a big actor or even whatever, spend time with your family too. They're
right.
people like us.
Gundu wants to know when the first AD says you're behind schedule, are you able to go rogue and offer quick solutions to keep the agencies happy?
Yeah, I mean you have to. I mean you have to kind of work it out in your head and especially beforehand of try to when you go to those locations like figure out okay what problems could we arise with like you know are we going to run into issues with weather are we going to run into issues with this with that and sometimes things don't turn out the way you want them to. That's the hardest part. Like I shot a project with Joseph in Mexico City and the weather was really inconsistent, like from morning being nothing but beautiful sunshine to getting into late afternoon, heavy, thick, dark clouds. By the time we wrap, it's pouring. And sometimes we were shooting when it was pouring. It's like, okay, throw a green screen in there. It's like because sometimes you're not in a position where you know we don't all have the luxury of. And I'm not saying this to be negative. When the story in the BTS interviews of Roger Deakins talking about them figuring out that this when the scene takes over where the main character is like going through that old abandoned uh, city at night and the flares are going on all that stuff and they shot the whole opening of the scene with Steadicam or whatever it was and they realized it wasn't the right look and then they spent 2 days spending a bunch of money to lift the techno crane or whatever it was to do it right. You don't get to do that on a commercial, on a music video. And I
Right.
mean, you got to get to a certain budget before that happens. And even then, that doesn't happen that often, to be quite honest, because it's just not reasonable. But that's a different scenario. That's a different thing. So yeah, I mean, you've always got to have different ideas in your mind and different possibilities. And I think the biggest thing for me is always just building that relationship and that cadence with the director, and trying to hopefully be able to work with them enough to where you kind of know, like, they like this, they like that. This helps them get in the rhythm. This is something that they like when they're going to get to the edit. And so you want to do certain things like, okay, I'm going to have these tools on the ready right next to us. If all of a sudden we really got to change the angle over here, no problem. We can flip that, because that's the biggest thing. I think you lose time in a music video when the artist decides they have an issue with something. They might have an issue with wardrobe, or they might have an issue with, someone else's look or whatever it may be. And that's going to eat into time. But just because that time is eaten up doesn't always mean that that time is going to then exist on the back end. That's not the case. So you have to think like, okay, what can we do and what can we do quickly? Having two cameras for me on everything is a must have. And like for this video I just did that's not out yet, it comes out next month. I actually had three cameras ready to go at any time. And the reason being, it was studio camera Venice. I actually think it was I don't remember if it was a Gemini or no, it was a weapon. I had a red weapon in the Ronin, and then I had a Komodo. My Komodo was just the like, okay, we need a shot here and like a weird spot, boom. And that's things like that are ways that you can save time. It's like, obviously the balance of owning your own gear is a part of that. For me, a Komodo is not a huge expense. I don't own any other cameras. Um, I don't own any other glass. I've got a few different accessories. And part of that is just so I can have the options. I mean, I kind of shoot on the same stuff all the time, but I don't want to feel like, oh, I have to pay this off. I have to get this on the job. Like if I'm going to do a passion project and it's like I can get myself an extra crew member by getting rid of the rental on my Komodo, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to lose the Komodo because it still helps me. And I'll make it up on another job, whatever. I don't care. So it's fine because I paid it off already, and it's like great, okay, cool. That's something that I've got in my arsenal. It's my kit, like Shane, for example, Hurlbut. I know he'll take his batten lights that he built, and sometimes he'll go on the job for free because that's his look. Like that's his style, and he's like, well, I'm not going to be able to get the budget for them. That's okay, and that's kind of the compromise and sacrifice you have to make. And I think that, to get back to your original question, Bob, is it's a little like we talked about, like working with the AD and that kind of stuff. That's where I'm like planning ahead, trying to think of like, okay, what can I do that allows me to be able to say to an AD as well, like, oh yeah, well, when we get to that, we're gonna be jumping on this and this and this, boom, 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 and I can have little things ready to go so that the AD can kind of say to me, okay, well, if I do this and then merge that with what you've just told me, then we can allow ourselves to make up 15 minutes. And that's what it's all about. It's all just you having a flow that works for you. And then you're not always going to work with the same ADs, but trying to just communicate as much as possible. And then, obviously just trying to have a good attitude about it,
Right.
because obviously there's going to be people you're going to work with that aren't going to be as fluid in their communication and aren't going to be as fast, or they're not going to be as polished, and they might be a little, whatever. But that's okay. It's not the end of the world. So, but
Joel wants to know what you use for room tone in the ultra wide shots.
in this project, in the video here,
Yeah.
probably a 300D with the Leica attachment, or no, it would have been the 300X. I do remember that because we only had one, and I think one 300X, and Damon Mosier was my gaffer, and Damon was on the first 2 days, and he was like, let's just put that one into Leica mode so it just stays that way, and the rest will all be the Ds. And that worked out pretty well. Like for that first shot we talked about up towards the top, like
Right.
these shots interior, that, you know, I know it wasn't much, you know, just kind of picking a spot where it was off camera and just kind of giving a little pop. And it helped. Like it just added a little bit of texture to it. Same in here, you know, I think, and there's definitely times where we turned it off. You know, it's just like sometimes you get into a place where you're like, it's just, and now it feels weird. Turn it off. You know, so.
Gerald wants to know, and I haven't heard anything on this side, but are industry folks hearing talk about another shutdown with Omicron?
I haven't, no. I mean, I know some of my friends in the sports world are concerned about things like that and shut down, but I mean, at least in Los Angeles, the extent of testing, and there hasn't been any sort of mandates yet of people needing to be vaccinated to work, and whether that will come or not, I have no idea. But I haven't had a production company or anybody require it or even ask. Actually, I think I had one company ask, but it was kind of like I didn't even understand why they were asking, because it's like, well, you're testing, so why did you even ask? But whatever. I don't see that happening. I really don't.
I mean, almost everybody I've talked to has been they just kind of they're done with it.
Right. I think, yeah, and I think also at the same time, it's like testing at this point is in a place where you can test a very large group of people. Like my girlfriend Chris has been working on and off as a COVID compliance officer for a couple different companies, and they've been able to build it out. So it's like we don't have to shut down if we don't need to, because we can figure out really quickly like who's been where and what's been what, and we can keep moving, you know, and
Right.
they can do multiple tests and all that kind of stuff and keep people safe. I mean, as far as I'm aware too, the people that are working within LA, I haven't heard of any sort of COVID deaths or anything like that related to crew members, you know, and that's, and shows have shut down and jobs have pushed a day or, you know, there and that kind of stuff. And I think it's the way you do it. So
Dave Donaldson says Warner Brothers backlot requires vax.
Oh, they do? Oh, okay. I haven't been on the backlot in a while.
Interesting.
Yeah. Like I'm sure some companies are already requiring it and stuff like that. I'm just not sure. So.
Well, I mean, then you go down the rabbit hole as what defines vax and which vaxes are vax.
Right.
And,
right. And then
like,
and then
it would never end in my mind.
It may never end. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I think it'll end with people just going, whatever. Just let's move along.
I think unfortunately we're following along the same like trajectory as like the way we're all responding, those for, those against, whatever, is no different than like when polio vaccine came out and that kind of stuff. It's like it's very similar. So I mean, it's just going to be what it's going to be, and we're going to keep the society is going to keep moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. And the good thing here, and not to get technical, but it feels like the virus has decided to weaken itself, and it's just going to, I think it's just going to slowly disappear, and good for it. Or maybe it just becomes a cold. Who knows?
That's kind of the silver lining right now with the Omicron variant is even though they're saying like, oh, it seems to spread more.
It's highly contagious, but it's so minor, which is good.
Right,
I mean,
and
this isn't it's not a COVID discussion, but it's interesting in the grand scheme of things.
It is, and it's pertinent to, you know, our industry and kind of understanding where we're going and stuff like that. But that's partially why I think that we're like, oh, we're in the clear, you know, but we're in a place that is progressing positively, you know, and maybe having to get the test up your nose and that kind of stuff and wearing the mask is going to continue to go along on bigger jobs and things like that for a little longer, maybe another year. But okay, you know, I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it, because eventually we'll be at a place like, hey, this thing really has gotten to a point where the death rate is so ridiculously low that it because of how this virus has evolved, it's now no big deal or whatever.
It's funny. The video's already been demonetized. just
Your
the
video?
stupidest. Oh yeah. YouTube is so stupid in the little things that it does.
Wow. Just from showing these frames?
No, not that. It wasn't that. Okay. It was probably something it picked up in the audio. And it's not that it's monetized. It hasn't been taken away from monetization from me. It's that it detected conversation that it doesn't want to monetize.
You know, it
It,
could have been that little bit of that music track from the GE thing, just the
maybe
song.
it could be anything. It could be us talking about COVID briefly.
Oh,
I
true.
mean, they just
Yeah,
it's so weird. And I mean,
it's
I've
crazy how strong the algorithms are. It is
yeah,
nuts.
and it doesn't do context. It does words.
No,
So it hears the word COVID. It's like, oh gosh.
right.
Well, I guess I could
Yeah,
ask Cynthia
exactly.
for margarita now that I've already been demonetized. This
There
last
you
or
go.
2 weeks ago, I didn't say anything about anything, but I used the word margarita, I think, and I got demonetized for it. I'm like, you
Oh
got to
my
be
God.
kidding me.
Wow. That's kind of wild.
Tommy says, loving the conversation, go.
Thanks,
See,
Tommy.
Lucas says, Happy New Year's, friends. I have to go. Thanks for all you. Please be safe. Yep, Luca. Thanks for joining.
Happy New Year.
All right, let's continue on. You've got
Sure.
some more to scroll through and talk about.
Yeah. Let me go back to the homepage and see. I don't remember.
I've got
Actually,
I've got
the.
your page muted, so you can play it with audio. It shouldn't come through now.
Oh, okay, cool. So I don't have to worry about
Right.
trying to mute
But
it
the
and
the
stuff.
video, if it's a music video, we definitely want to pause like every couple of
Yeah.
seconds, or maybe
Right.
just
Yeah.
scrub through it because it
Right.
will.
I don't think there's anything.
It wouldn't be the end of the world if it demonetizes. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But if it, I mean, some of those are strict, and that's a channel strike.
Right. This one I'll show this one because this spot is I think a little more in the realm of could easily be a project that a little more mid-level budget, maybe a little more common for a lot more people. It's a lottery spot that I shot with Joseph out in Chicago. And I want to bring it up because this particular spot, it was like a series of 3 spots. This is one they did air on TV. It's only a 15-second spot. It was all shot on Komodo. And part of that had to do with um, the physical space and my whole like Ronin kind of setup thing where we didn't have a Ronin on the job. We weren't going to need it. And then kind of at the last minute, the day before, or it might have been the morning of actually, or no, it was the night before, we were able to get the green light to do this style of project, which had originally kind of gone away. And then it came back. It was like, oh, okay. So my key grip fortunately owned a Ronin. And so he was able to bring one in. Not a big deal. Like, wasn't a huge, like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And it's all just kind of one spot or one shot for this spot, and it's pulling out from this woman sitting on the chair to reveal the face of her husband playing the drums, and she's scratching off. She doesn't care, and then it's got a couple cut-ins, close it away. It's funny. Yeah, but it was very simple, very straightforward. We're shooting in an actual house in Chicago, someone's house that you rent out. People rent out their places. And it's all just, it's really 3 or 4 shots, the whole sequence. You've got the hero shot at the end, which is this, the drum kit and the guy's legs. It's just, I think with that, we laid track. How did we do this? We put I think we had a Fisher 10 and then a little short 6-foot jib, and we put the Roan on the end of the jib. That's what we did. Oh, sorry, my dad's calling. I'm just going to hit decline. Call him back later. What was I saying? Oh, so track, jib arm, Ronin. And the reason for that was, if you let's watch that again really quick, is it kind of has a little bit of that techno crane feel to it, that pull out. But
Yeah.
no budget for the techno crane. And we're
Right.
in someone's house. There's no way I'm putting a techno crane in this person's house. It's not going to fit. The weight of it's going to be a problem. And in this particular house, it was a little, 1940s kind of home. A lot of the wood and stuff could get damaged. All that kind of. And there was behind camera. There's a lot of very ornate wood texture that we obviously didn't want to damage. Did I lose you? My headset went out. Oh, maybe you went away for a second.
Oh, I definitely disappear periodically for sure.
Oh, okay, no worries. Because I can hear it, which is great. I can hear my headset, and then all of a sudden it went away.
Oh, you can hear it,
But
but wait.
I think I just heard the dropout. That's all. But I wanted to make
Oh,
sure it wasn't my
so if
headphones.
I,
Oh, that now it's yeah. I don't hear anything now.
okay, yeah,
But
that's the
oh,
mute.
that's better.
That's
Oh,
she's
okay.
about to make me margarita. The blender's about to go crazy. So
Gotcha. Nice. No worries. That's just because my phone had rang. I was like, oh, I hope it didn't interfere with my laptop with the headphones because of Bluetooth.
she tried to offer me nachos grande over here, but I'm like, I
Nice.
can't eat in front of everybody. That's not right.
I mean, it's New Year's.
Oh,
Um,
he says I can eat. So
yeah.
I get margaritas and nachos. Oh, she's eating it now.
Okay. That's funny. But yeah, for this one, I mean, the biggest hurdle for a shoot like this um, was really just to me was the track and making a cheap techno, because even with at least with a techno, when you're coming out on the arm and you're going back in and out, the stability is a lot more solid
Right.
versus this kind of thing. You got to think about the inertia that the arm takes over and all that kind of stuff, and it pushes and you're pulling the little jib arm, the end of a dolly can shake and move, and you get a little bit of that bounce. So that we did a little post stabilization in this. We had to. It's a 16:9 project. I'm shooting 6K 17:9 on the Komodo. Um, I think with this frame we were like a 24 mil, and then I'm putting in a little bit of. I think we went down to 4K in the framing, like the frame guide, so that you knew you had a little bit of room to zoom in and stabilize without there being any issues. Um, and then it's lit pretty simply. I mean, this is a couple. There's a couple mirror boards out. This is a window over here, like a big sliding glass window of different sections, and then we put in some shears there, and then some curtains, and bunch them up in different spaces to make the place feel a little more expensive. Um, the sofa, I believe, was already there. This stuff is already there. We brought in a different rug, brought in this little like chaise, not chaise lounge, but this ottoman that goes to this chair here, and the table and the plant and the lamp and all that kind of stuff. And then for the warmth of the light coming through is some Molpars. I'm using tungsten 1K Molpars, and again, kind of going back to my discussion of of using tungsten when you can based on cost. This particular job had 4 or maybe 5 different commercials that we shot over 3 days, and they were all 15-second spots. We did one that was like a car, like it was in a car. And we did one that was like the guy's like sitting in his car and somebody hits behind him and he's scratching, scratch off and thinks nothing of it. One was like in a barber shop, and I can't remember the other two. But we're shooting different locations each day. At least two locations a day to make the shoot. And it was great for this location, the fact that it's only a handful of shots. Like I'm shooting in one direction, I'm still shooting in the same direction, I'm still shooting in the same direction, and the only time I change is I come around to her and I come over to him. And obviously something like this is easy to be, you can cheat it. I figured, okay, I don't want to go totally crazy and flip the lighting, so I'm matching the light on her hand there to the light coming in from the left hand side of her body, so that it at least feels like the same space. But I'm pivoting and turning so that we're looking at that drum kit just to give it some texture there. And then I'm you know, probably adjusting one of the Molpars or something just to kind of hit it. And then I'm not putting a ton of light on the background either, because obviously the focus is the scratch off ticket. That's what we want to see. We want to see her hand. We see she's scratching off. She's got a coin in her hand. All that kind of stuff. And the same thing with this. It's really just this was about coming over. I think if we might have done this on both shots. Sorry, I'm speaking kind of crazy. This was most likely the last shot we did, the scratch off, because I pulled the camera off the Ronin and just set it up really quick and just on a lock off, like kind of probably pulled the camera out of the gimbal and slapped it in, lined it up, real Franken rig like, because it was going to be a lock off. For this shot of the drum kit, we're shooting after we've done the pull out shots and these cutaways, because they're all the same I believe we just stayed on the same lens and just adjusted the frame, just pulled in, pulled out, swung the arm over. Okay, let it settle, lock it off. Okay, great. Now we got the shots. And the same thing with this. We did change the lens on this one. I believe we're a little bit higher on a 35 just to kind of change the texture a little bit. And then it's just about, okay, where can we get, let's look at the drum kit. Where's the lighting at? Okay, that's not too bad. We can keep a little shadow side there, and bring in a light matte 4, most likely. I think it was a 4. Yeah, because the 8's the bigger one. And then just pushing the light matte 4 from this side to just kind of come along this way and feel some soft key light. And you can see that shadow along the card. So the light's all coming from this direction. And then you're just, most likely we flagged off any of the Molpars that were hitting above here, because I'm pretty sure I had a shot where there was a streak of light coming through. And even before the client could say anything, I'm looking at it going, okay, well, they're not going to like that. Even I don't like it. It kind of breaks up this and you can't really see it. And it's going to be too busy. And so keeping it simple, you look at the pattern on the floor and some of that, yeah, it's kind of feeling similar, and this is where I like doing jobs like these where they're meant to be simple. They're meant to be as realistic as possible, but you can still add a little warmth, add a little cold texture to it, and find a space to it. It's like in this, you've got the warmth coming through. It's
Yeah,
sitting on the
it's a
couch.
very warm and inviting, and then you're
Yeah,
revealing. I mean, it's
yeah,
layers upon layers. I love it.
right. Yeah, and then keeping this background neutral against here, I'm pretty sure with the mirror, we were able to use natural sunlight, or I might have had to bounce a little like 1200 watt HMI into the mirror. And the whole point of the mirror was just about the sharpness of the light, quality of light itself. I wanted to give because there was a little bit of shadow being created behind her and the shadow under here. It was just kind of just trying to find something that felt a little different versus, okay, blast the light directly through diffusion and then soften it and shape it and all that kind of stuff. I was like, oh, throw a mirror in there. I mean, sometimes when you have a little bit of time, not that this job had a ton of time to play and experiment, I try to do that. I try to go, what haven't I done in a while? I haven't done mirrors with a day interior scene in a long time. Let's throw some mirrors in there. It's just so we can accent different things and try to play. And that's kind of was the idea. It was just I wanted to make a different look, different style. I mean, ultimately, I feel like you kind of making your same style all the time. There's a
Well, but
lot
I
of your
mean,
go-tos,
that
but
that could be
it's
your
okay.
style. I mean,
Yeah, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong. It's like very like, for example, just seeing the Pepsi reminded me. You think about day interior. It's like, let's go to this Pepsi spot I did. This was I can't remember when we did this now, but for example, like really warm, texture to it, and really trying to feel a space and feel that warmth. Um, Trying to feel like it's early morning, and playing with big, strong, hard backlights. The funniest part about this job in that particular, which I'll just let the spot play. It's the concept that she goes from real world or a dreamy sequence to something real world, and she's like dancing around and all these circular things, and yeah, she ends up in a laundromat. That's kind of what happens. Um, Boom, there's your laundromat. We shot these down in Argentina, down in Buenos Aires. And the funniest part about that ending sequence in here, especially that was a car driving through the street. It was an active street. It was pouring down raining outside. And the biggest thing that I worried about was we couldn't get the road closure that I was hoping to get. And I was really concerned that I think I only had a T20 tungsten Fresnel. So imagine an old tungsten Fresnel. The thing that made me scared was when we set up this shot, the wide shot that comes in here, there's some streaks along the floor there. The right side is a 10K. That's a 10K, creating that stronger, wider beam. The left side is two 5Ks. The reason why it's two 5Ks is because the other 10K didn't work. And it was kind of a scenario of shooting in Argentina can be, sometimes it can be what it can be. great crew, great people, loved it. But the gear can be a little, I don't know if it's going to work. So there's a lot of like, oh, we've got 3 or 4 of things just to be safe. But because we were only using a pair of 10Ks on this day and not using a bunch in other places, they worked fine. And when they prepped, they turned everything on and tested it. But something went wrong with the ballast. It was messed up, or not the ballast, but the Bates connector. So it didn't work. And it was like, okay, all right. So it's always pivoting of whatever you've got. So when we got to the shot looking back, where I know I'm going to have that big beam of light kind of coming through her for that kind of hero feel, I'm turning to my gaffer going, how many of those T20s do we have? He's like, just one. I'm like, just one. Like, oh man, I hope it works. And I was worried because it was pouring down raining. So, it's on a crank stand across the street. Like imagine we're in like a, I keep wanting to say residential, but not residential, but like a business section where you've got a 2-lane street with cars parked either side. There's shops, restaurants everywhere. And this is an actual laundromat. We've dressed it up. Art department came in and did their thing and made it look more interesting. The laundromat that was there. They put in a fake ceiling, which we did actually put these tubes in. Those are all Astera tubes because this ceiling is fake. Like the art department built that ceiling because it was a 2-story room for some reason. I guess there's like in the back area, there's a staircase and there's like a half office in the back. And so we built that drop ceiling and put all that in, and then we put our own lights in and stuff like that. As you can kind of see how this still drives me nuts. It's not
Right.
perfectly symmetrical to the other
Right.
one because it was kind of a rush because I think one of them died because the battery wasn't fully charged, and it was just like, get it in there, and you get in there and you're like, because it's just like, it's just one shot, no one will see it. And I'm like, but I see it, But so going back to this real quick to finish this part is, there's an umbrella above the lamp to make sure it's not getting wet. It's 2 guys out there watching it, making sure, and that again, shooting tungsten to create that look and to save on costs. Like, yeah, sure, I could put an 18K out there and gel it. The quality is going to feel fairly similar, especially if you're using a Fresnel 18K. But I can get that T20 for a lot cheaper, and I can get a lot more fixtures and all that kind of stuff. And when you're getting to a space where you're shooting projects where you're shooting HMI or tungsten more often, power ends up kind of being the same in some regards, versus like LED. And maybe that'll happen in the next 20 years where there will be bright enough fixtures where it can go LED, and you're saving money on the rental cost of the extra manpower to drive the generator truck to set the generator up, all that kind of stuff, and then needing to figure out where to park it and run cable. Whereas, okay, I can just drop a little, small generator right next to the lamp, or like a Honda 6500, and I can roll that around and I can plug a bunch of things into it. And I don't have to go, oh, we got to park the generator around the corner. Now I need extra guys to run the cable, all that kind of stuff. Because that's what we did here. Generator is parked like down the street. There's probably 200 or 300 feet of cable run for 4 lights, and 4 lights and to put power in the facility, because fortunately back here, there's a hallway out on the other side of this wall. There's a hallway that
So
leads
you ran
into,
cables back that way?
yeah, so we ran cables back that way to get back there because there's like another staircase, so we could put lights back there. And then back deep in that area there's Video Village and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, not that it was like, oh, we ran a bunch of cable for a few things, but thinking about, well, I can put a generator out here, because it doesn't take much power to run Video Village, just think of how much stuff that can save. So that's the one thing I do like about LED, but at the end of the day, it comes down to cost. Sometimes having, you're not pivoting between the cost of an LED with power without having the power. You're pivoting between going, well, do I want HMI or want tungsten? Oh, okay. I'm going to need this setup, this setup, this. I'm going to need a lot of this. Okay, well, tungsten is going to save me a lot more, and I'm going to get more out of it. And the cost of the expendables of cutting the gel or having gel pre-cut already put in frames is going to outweigh the benefits of going the other direction if I need to warm up an HMI versus cooling off a tungsten light. It just depends on the job, but I find myself, I mean, I like the look of tungsten on a digital sensor too. I mean, I like the quality that it brings, but yeah, it's just, yeah. How's your margarita?
It's pretty good. And I was going to say, someone is going to watch this in like 2 days and just roast me in the
I just
comments
assume,
section for being so rude to drink and eat in front of you. So I want you to go get an adult beverage, grab you some chips or something.
I can get some chips, but I can't drink right now. I'm waiting for another blood test for my
Oh,
liver.
okay. Fair
I'm
enough.
okay. I'm okay. It's just they want me to. I have to cut out a bunch of, which I don't really drink it. It was funny because I got the call and they're like, we don't want you to have to do this, or this." I'm like, "Well, it's probably this." And they're like, "Well, we got to make sure anyways." I'm like, "I don't really drink." I'm like, "And it's almost New Year's. Come on." They're like, "Yeah, well, you need to do a blood test in a week." I was
Yeah,
like,
New Year's, come on.
"I know." Well, they called me like 2 days ago. I was like, "I should have picked up that call 3 days later."
We'll
But everything's okay.
get you a diet lemonade and some chips or
Yeah,
something.
I'm all good right now. But I assumed you had the margarita in front of you because I've got the other page open so I can scroll, but I can just tell by the audio dropping. I'm like, audio's been dropped for a little while. He must be enjoying that margarita.
It's the yeah, it's the chips. I'm trying not to crunch.
Yeah, it's
You know,
crunch away.
I'm just
Yeah,
waiting. Someone's gonna just roast me, but it won't be these. This group here is good. It's
yeah.
the
No,
after people.
it'll be the people watching later. Yeah, no, that's true. Let me see what else might be interesting to kind of. Is anybody any questions or anything? I'm just thinking. I'm
Well,
trying. It's
people ask
nice
some
when somebody.
questions.
It's nice when people ask questions because it helps kind of motivate
Yeah,
or prompt a.
it keeps things topical for what people are
Yeah,
looking. Come on, people, ask some questions. There's a lot of you. There's
yeah.
20 people out there.
Oh, really? There's 20 people watching right now. Cool. Awesome. That's pretty good, right?
So,
And we're just gonna go
eat and
silent.
drink away. Great chat, by the way. um,
I'm trying to think of some other things that
what did
let's see.
for this? It's a minor question for the lights that were emulating the doors on the washing machines. What did they
Hmm.
use?
Oh, so that's fun. Those were all tungsten, like these guys. So trying to find like that one. Those were all 650-watt peppers. Um, so what we did, do I have photos of that? Let me see if I can find that really quick. You can still see that page. Okay. Well, let me see if I can find the photo and I'll show that. But I'll talk about it while I'm looking. Um, Basically, we wanted to kind of literally match it up as much as possible. So like, there's the one shot where there's a line of they're like in parallel. We literally line them up because we shot the actual laundromat before shooting the fake like Dream World laundromat. And the there was a practical reason to that because the idea was the position of the ones on the side needed to match the position of the ones in the real world. So let me see if I should add a frame of that. That's like it's the match. It's basically the match cut. So we only shot, as you can, it goes really fast. But the whole idea is like the ones on the right are lower, the ones on the left are higher. So we literally built them that way, and did it, so that we could look at the frames and overlay each other, and then go, okay, all right, that's come up a few feet, come up, and we basically made 4x8 sheets of plywood, cut the holes out, and put tracing paper in the backs. And we used plywood and some 2x4s. Art department built all that, and then we rigged them on lowboy combo stands. And I think the bigger ones were on full size combos, and then this one obviously is on lowboy combos. And you can see it's actually 3 levels because of the difference between the levels there, and then this level. And there are, I think, 2 lights per hole, or one light per every 2 holes, shooting almost directly at it. They're kind of like bouncing into it. It was really just it wasn't an exact science. It was a lot of like, okay, all right, oh, that looks good. Okay, let's try to replicate that now. And using it again, using all 650-watt peppers was all about cost. We knew we wanted to go with warm light. There's a lot of blue in this Pepsi blue can. This is kind of has a blue feel to it already. You know, that was kind of the design of making it warm. We talked about trying to make it more white light and stuff like that. But then on the day, it was even just, I think the prep day, Joseph and I are looking at it together, and he's like, "No, I like that." We had the camera there, and he's like, "Yeah, warm. That looks cool. Like, yeah, let's keep it warm." I was like, "All right, cool." Which, it's fine. It's not hard to switch between the two. But I think I have a photo. Let me. I'm looking on the other page really quick.
Well, so
See if I
so
can
I have a
find it.
question that will kind of go along with Craig's question as well.
Sure.
Whose vision was that to match that up? And Craig was asking, how much do you get involved in the shot design and storyboarding on this?
I mean, in commercials, you don't really get, as a DP, you don't really get a lot of involvement because that's mostly coming between the agency and the director at that point. Um, you know, not that, I mean, in a lot of ways, depending on the brand, like I'm walking into the scene or walking into the days, and a lot of the stuff is kind of boarded out. It's not like a movie in the sense where you're getting to work with a director as much to board those things out, because a lot of that stuff is getting decided before you're even brought onto the job at that point. There's still some flexibility and some changes that happen, per se, but this job was pretty rigid. And that was partially because of the agency, and because we were taking on additional projects that it was just, they wanted Joseph to shoot. They wanted him. And so, but they want Joseph, but they still want to keep a similar theme to what they've already shot. They'd already done like 5 or 6 commercials. And so we were doing like 3 or 4, so there wasn't a lot of room for fluidity. I mean, even for a director, sometimes there isn't a lot of movement for them. Not that an agency is just going, here are the boards, shoot this. But obviously that's a lot of work between the two of them. So, whereas, for example, we shot, where is it? Not that one. This one. This is a different agency, a different section of Pepsi, and it's for Pepsi Vanilla, and then we did one for Cherry, and it was essentially the same. This was a lot more involvement, I know, from Joseph's end, and it was all the music. You don't have the music, right? You can't hear the
No, the
music.
music's off. Yeah.
Okay, good, because it's a popular song, and that would definitely get shut down. But it was kind of the same theory, same concept, but there was a lot more flexibility given to Joseph and myself, for this one. It wasn't as rigid coming from the agency and from a creative standpoint, which made it nice. I mean, not that the other one wasn't nice, but it's hard to say that without it sounding wrong, like sounding like the wrong thing, like, because both jobs went really smooth and really fluid, and both creative agencies were great to work with, and everybody was really nice. I mean, it's just sometimes, like, because this was literally this part of this agency, and the team from Pepsi Vanilla and Cherry were like, "Oh, we saw the other spots. We want to do those spots with you guys, as we liked what you guys did." Like, that was literally, how the jobs came about, from what I understand. So that was kind of cool. It was like, "Oh, you guys saw what we did. You liked it." And then they were very much like, "Oh, what do you guys think? What do you guys think?" And both the Pepsi Vanilla and the Cherry spots, even leading up to the day while we're pre-rigging, we shot this whole thing on a stage, on 2 different stages at Universal, where we kind of made like a black, limbo stage where we put a little accent back there. And then on the next stage over, we built the convenience store. And this partially had to do with just because this agency wanted to shoot in the US. And so we had to build all this stuff out, versus the other stuff they shot in Argentina, for whatever reason. I'm sure a lot of it was cost and, the look. And some of, I think, what we did too, we also did a Spanish. I think we did a couple spots that were like the one I showed you was technically for Pepsi Argentina and South America and Latin America, stuff like that. And so I think part of it too was trying to get authentic people from Latin backgrounds to be in the spots and not necessarily have to do it in Los Angeles. And that could also be partially because even though they weren't speaking, I don't know if Pepsi went and did any other things where they had them record voiceover for radio ads or anything like that. Because there's always those kind of elements. Like people see, like, oh, well, they didn't speak. Why did it matter? They could have just hired actors that you wouldn't even know. It's like, well, sometimes they'll make these package projects, and you're not even completely aware of, like, oh yeah, we finished shooting with the main talent yesterday. We did insert shots with the backup or the secondary talent, but the main talent showed up that same day, and it's like, what's she doing here? And why is there a sound guy? And or they're doing social stuff, and she's doing. So there's all those kinds of reasons too. So just to throw that out there. I'm
Okay.
still trying to find. I know I have photos. I'm just trying to figure out where they're
A
at.
question from Joel: which aperture spotlight lens degree is your favorite? He's choosing between 19 or 26.
I probably end up going more 26, even on a standard Leica, just because it's in that middle range. Unless it's something really specific, and then I'm spending time to throw in a tight, where I need to go, like I need to go as tight as possible and go 19 degrees. But yeah, probably 26 or even 36. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I would think a 26 is pretty middle of the road. To 19, you're
yeah,
just so far away. If you need to make it big, you're just so far away from your.
right. And that's kind of the thing I think I run into is being in a situation where all of a sudden things change for whatever reason, or you want to change it. That's for the aesthetic and the creative of it, and you're like, oh, I need to pivot to this really fast, and how do I? Oh man, and it's too tight of a beam now, and it's too narrow, and it's so being in it, I can always put an iris in and make it narrower. It kind of goes back to that idea. But if I put the 50-degree in and then I bring it down, the optics within the lens of that 50-degree lens attachment, like I'm talking about, like I don't think aperture has a 50-degree, but
They
like
don't
with
have.
like a
They have
traditional
36 and 26
36,
and 19. Yeah.
but like a 50 on a traditional Leica, you just there's it's I don't want to say it's thinner glass, but just the optics itself is designed to spread the light more. So even though I've irised it down, I'm still not getting the hard punch into that glass. So that's why being at like a 26, it's like I can still get that hard punch similar to the 19, but if I need a little wider spread, I got it. So that's kind of the thought process behind it.
I think we need to wrap this up only because my internet has dropped about 7 times in the last 5 minutes, and
Oh,
I'm
geez.
scared to death it's just going to, and then we're done. Well,
All good. No worries.
like you're literally frozen right now.
Oh, I am?
You're smiling though, so you seem happy. So,
That's
but
fair.
what I would love to do is, of course, bring you back so that we can
Yeah.
actually feature you and let you do the presentation, so we can get you the audience that wants to see you, and rather than the people who didn't know you were coming in, like you didn't know you were coming in.
Right. No, yeah, no, totally. We should definitely do something that's a little more formal and kind of plan
Right.
out like, hey, we can do this kind of thing, that kind of
But
stuff.
I'll eat nachos
Um,
beforehand, and then
yeah, no, exactly. I see Tommy's question. It says, "What's your favorite to enhance your image? Filters, vintage lenses." Um,
do you?
hmm.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite? Yeah.
I don't know if I really have a favorite. I'm trying to think. Right now, I really like the Masterbuilt lenses. Um, there's something about those lenses that I just like. I like the way they flare. I don't really like to shoot anamorphic a lot. I mean, it always depends on the project, but I like really strong spherical lenses. Um, they have a soft character to them that isn't so soft that you're like, oh, this feels like a weird connection between the digital and film world. Like there's still a really nice sharp center to them. And it kind of reminds me of shooting like on a set of Panavision Primos, but I like the fact that there's just something different too about the way they flare. They're a little more aggressive in their flare. They've got a couple different sets out there. They've got a soft flare set and then they've got a classic set. I just used the classic set on a project that's coming out next month, and I really like the way they turned out. I'm just waiting. They need more focal lengths.
Do you
The
like?
oddly,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say oddly enough, I do like the Tokinas are kind of similar in that sense, but the bokeh's a little different. The bokeh feels the flares feel like master builds. The bokehs feel like cooks. There's a
Right.
texture that's cool. I do like that Tokina just added that 21 and 29 millimeter.
Yeah, they
Um,
have a full set. I mean,
I mean, to be honest, like when I saw they added those, I was like, man, that's kind of hard not to consider buying a set. Just yeah, it's a big chunk of change, but it's like every single focal length that you really want in the
it's
bigger set of
all the
glass.
ones that I would choose. He now has, and I'm like,
Right, right. So that's I
uh,
thought
the,
of it. I saw that. I was like, but I
what
don't use a
about
lot of
filters?
filters.
Do you like running any filters or no, or do you choose the lens with the character or what?
I try to choose the lens with the character, but sometimes I'll run like a eight. I don't. I kind of go from the school of thought of using just a couple filters even for this different lenses, like versus I know the methodology to using like an eighth pro mist is to put that on putting that on a longer lens so it's not as aggressive, and you put like the
Right,
one on the wider lens because of field of view, or depends on if you're on a wider lens, you're physically closer and all that kind of stuff. And it all just depends on the look you're creating. But I almost kind of I don't go much stronger than an eighth on anything just because I feel like I see it and I don't want to see it. I like to use digital diffusion from Tiffin a lot, depending on the glass, and depending on the job. Whereas, like, I think I used on the Pepsi spots, this particular Pepsi spot, the Pepsi Vanilla, is Supreme Primes, and I didn't use anything in front of those. But on the other one, in the Lavenderia one, that was Master Primes with. I know I used the Eighth Pro Mist in front of everything, and that was just because I wanted to bloom the highlights a little bit more, but not. I don't want to do a ton. I'm
right.
trying to go crazy with it, but yeah, I mean, I try to do different stuff all the time, but I don't really feel like I have a go-to when it comes to that stuff. Yeah,
Well, let's wrap this one up because I
sure.
mean I know it's going to happen and I don't want it to happen. It's been my fear
Yeah,
for the last 18 months doing one of these and somebody will be like,
yeah, be frozen on you the whole time. Yeah, I mean,
and
your
then
internet's
leave in
been doing great
embarrassment.
lately. Your internet's been doing great lately, though, which has been good.
StreamYard helps, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, let's plan an actual one
sure.
for literally
Yeah,
just you rather than just me live streaming and you join.
yeah,
And then we'll get it out there, let everybody know when it's going to be, so we can get the audience. I mean, everybody here is obviously here to see you because they're still here,
well, thanks,
but
everybody.
we can get a lot more people
Yeah,
to
no,
join
because I
in
mean,
that will learn
it's
from
cool.
you. And
Yeah, and it's cool to have a little planned out too, because then maybe we can put out some question feelers for questions in the beginning, so we
sure.
can try to. I can have some stuff a little more readily available to show. So
Dave is asking, do
recommendation.
you have a recommendation for a good lens comparison video? I feel like maybe I'd like to find a new look to get more excited to shoot again. Been on Canon L for a while.
Lens comparison video. I feel like there needs to be an update out there of lens comparison video. I think it's funny. I think a lot about when Zacuto did their camera shootout. Remember that, like from like almost 10 years ago now, and how well
Mm,
done that was. I feel like we need that. I mean, I think ShareGrid's lens comparison videos are really, really good because it's like a kind of like a science experiment where there's a control group where everything is the same. It's lens comparisons are always hard though. I think in some ways, if you can get your hands on the gear somehow, like if there's a rental house that's willing to let you shoot stuff, that's the best way to do it. But I understand
right.
that's limitations even for myself. But yeah, I'd say this: if you go to ShareGrid on YouTube, they did like a whole bunch of different stuff for different spherical lenses and anamorphic and stuff like that. Um, what a couple years ago now, I think that was really good. Yeah, because it's funny because I really want to see all the Miike lenses, the new full
Oh
frame and
yeah,
Super 35s. They just announced their 24. Like I want those lenses to be amazing. I really do, just because I love little lenses that I feel like
they're
I can put on the Komodo or on other cameras that are just like tiny little stealth kind of things, and they're pretty fast. The other 2.1, it's not bad.
they're
So
they're interesting. They're just
Yeah.
not that interesting to me.
Yeah, I'm curious. I haven't seen them yet because I was like, they only had the 50
I
out
mean,
for a while. I was like, I'm not
the
gonna look at that.
the IRIX
Yeah.
lenses are really cool, but the
Hmm.
weird thing is that they're doing this outside in thing where they're working on all the extremes. So they have like a
No.
11 and a 15 and then a
Yeah,
150. I'm
yeah,
like,
the
bring me
that
the middle.
30,
Give me the
yeah. That weird like 30 millimeter and like 45 millimeter just doesn't do it for me. I'm like,
it's weird. I mean, I don't mind 30, 32 and 28 are some of my
yeah.
favorite focal lengths, but
If
30
there
is
was like
like,
a if there was like a 30 and a 35, you'd be like, oh, okay, like all right, but there isn't,
yeah, it's weird, but yeah, I mean
Yeah.
the Chinese lenses are interesting, but the cool thing is that they exist now.
Yeah.
That
Oh yeah.
that
It gives people a lot of opportunity, a lot of options.
and they're getting good at it. I mean, they're
Yeah.
not perfect, they're not fantastic, but
No.
for what you're getting a cinema lens for an extraordinary budget. That's
Right.
hard to pass up.
Right. And I think there's something to be said too, is like you think of like having like like even I own like a tilted nucleus, M that I'll throw on a job on the B camera or whatever, or use it for iris or something, and it's compact, small, and it's cheap, and that helps a lot. Like you're always trying to save money, no matter what the hey Curtis, okay, I'm just kidding. It's like you're always trying to find ways to not go crazy in your budget because you're trying to get the best look that you can. And I think as much as like, yeah, I love cine modded lenses, Canon FDs, Leica R's, that stuff is really great. But the limitations from the functional standpoint can sometimes be problematic depending on the job. If it's something that is a little more documentary feel or something, or you're going to have the time and you're not worried about the fact that like, ring might slip off the motor, or you're not going to use motor, you're going to pull on your hand or whatever. It's like that's great because even that little job I mentioned doing in Oregon, we shot pocket 4K, pocket 6K, um, with the Nikon AIS lenses that were cine modded, but still with EF mount. And because it was me and another person, and I would just pull my own focus, and it was a lot of just slow mo beauty shots, and it was cool. And I'm like, I love these lenses, but for me to use them in my normal workflow, I'd have to spend $4,000 a lens at Zero Optics and have them rehouse them, and I don't really want to put that investment into a set of lenses right now. It's like especially during COVID, it's like I don't know if I make the money back. So
Curtis asked if we discussed Vespas. No, we didn't because
no,
we're literally wrapping up
yeah,
because
Curtis.
I'm not seeing Dave. I see like literally he's like
Now you're frozen. You froze on that for me. You froze on that for me. That was funny.
well, I mean, I wanted you to experience what I'm experiencing,
Yeah.
and I just know it's going to happen one day. I'll finally get like Roger Deakins or Spielberg on here, and then I'll be like,
That would be funny though. That would be really funny. But
once
they
it would
won't
be
know.
funny once.
But they
Meanwhile,
won't know
I'll be
that.
working
They'll
at
never know.
Walmart, and then
You're not gonna work at Walmart. So, but I've not used the Vespid yet. Curtis asked about that. I'm curious. I know we have a couple mutual friends that I think own a set, but I have not used those yet.
yeah,
It's okay.
they're interesting.
It's okay, Curtis.
They're one of the more interesting Chinese variants
Yeah,
in my mind.
yeah. They got some good focal lengths too.
Tommy says we've been great.
Thank you,
So,
Tommy.
David, thank you for joining in because it's
Yeah, buddy.
always a pleasure. You're always welcome. And just anytime, just
thank
say, send me a link, bro. Send me a link,
Yeah,
and I'll be like,
yeah,
okay,
man.
all right, here you're in.
That was fun. Thanks for having me on. It was cool.
Yeah, and
It
we'll
popped up
do
on
this.
my phone. I was like, hey,
Yeah,
what's up?
we'll do this good like earlier so that my
Totally.
internet's good enough, and they're supposed to fix it at some point. I don't know if they ever will, but maybe it's just all a lie. But
Get you
thanks
upgraded
for
Fiverr.
joining.
Yeah, buddy.
Thanks for being a part of it. I'm going to drop you down. Don't disappear yet. And I don't know how to drop you down. Oh, yes, I do. There we go. And so, yeah, remember to like and subscribe, all the good stuff. Share with all your friends. Support the channel, all the good stuff. And as always, as I like to leave it, don't let your passions center around your life. Let your life center around your passions. Click.